Chapter 957. Wait here, I'll go get Chunin, the woman hurriedly said to Ning Shu, and even said eagerly, sit on the sofa first. There's fruit, eat it first. The woman entered the room and patted Chunin, who was still sleeping. Your sister is back. Who? Chunin was in a daze and asked with some confusion. Your sister. The woman said excitedly. Stop sleeping, quickly get up. So what if she's back? She probably can't survive outside. Chunin said indifferently and pulled the blanket. Bullshit, your sister is wearing branded clothes, and the clothes and bags she's wearing are beautiful. Quickly get up. The woman pulled Chunin. When Chunin heard this, he was stunned. How is that possible? You'll know when you get up. Chunin quickly got up. When he opened the door and saw Ning Shu in the living room, he rubbed his eyes and almost didn't dare to recognize her. Was this woman really his sister? This wasn't at all. The difference was like heaven and earth. Sister, you're back. Chunin walked over and said to Ning Shu. When he saw the child in Ning Shu's arms, he instantly exclaimed, Nan Nan is already so big. Nan Nan, I'm your uncle. Ning Shu grunted and asked coldly, where's Mom and Dad? Mom went to buy groceries, Dad went for a walk. Chunin said immediately. He was suppressed by Ning Shu's aura, and he seemed to be extremely reserved as he sized Ning Shu up from head to toe. Sister, where have you been these few years? We were worried to death. Chunin said. Why didn't you call your family? Ning Shu couldn't be bothered to talk to him. This was how society was. Now that you're rich, your brothers and sisters would curry favor with you. If you're not capable, your brothers and sisters would despise you and step on you for no reason to show off their superiority. It was human nature to bow to the strong and step on the weak. Feelings and whatnot were really very indifferent. Ning Shu only talked to Nan Nan, and did not pay any attention to the couple. His sister-in-law watched from the side, and hurriedly gave Chunin a look. Chunin also had an anxious look on his face. He picked up the fruit from the fruit platter on the table, and handed it to Nan Nan, saying, Here, Nan Nan. Uncle will give you an apple. Nan Nan looked at Ning Shu, raised her head and asked doubtfully, Mom, is he really my uncle? What is an uncle? How come I've never seen him before? Ning Shu gently replied, Your uncle is your mother's younger brother. All these years, your mother has been away from home, so it's normal that you don't know him. Nan Nan, right? I'm your aunt. The sister-in-law immediately came over and said, Big sister, you must be thirsty. Do you want me to pour you a glass of water? Sister-in-law Ning Shu asked. Ning Shu waved his hand. Don't worry. I'll wait for Mom and Dad to come back. Ning Shu's expression was cold. If she had dressed more normally today, or if she had been more down and out, she wouldn't have been treated like this. Chunin saw that Ning Shu was very cold to him, so he looked up and down at Ning Shu and Nanan's clothes. They were all exquisitely made clothes, and each of them had a good design. Nanan's clothes and leather shoes looked good on children, and she looked like a little angel. Chunin tried to get close to Ning Shu and asked, Sis, where have you been? Nowhere. Ning Shu said indifferently, Give Mom a call. I'll be back for a while, and I'll be leaving soon. Why are you leaving so soon? Why don't you stay at home for a few days? Chunin immediately said, Mom and Dad miss you. Just stay at home for a few days. Mom misses you so much that she's crying. Ning Shu didn't take these words to heart. With a mocking expression he said, Stay at home? Do I have a place to stay? You sleep with Mom. Dad will squeeze with me. Chunin said, This way, you can talk to Mom and let Nan Nan get closer to Grandma. Ning Shu burst out laughing. He looked at his sister-in-law and said, Then where will sister-in-law stay? I can't let sister-in-law sleep on the floor. His sister-in-law's face was very ugly. Her face trembled as she said, I can sleep on the sofa. Ning Shu said ambiguously, It's so cold. If you sleep on the sofa, you'll freeze to death. I've booked a room at the hotel. I won't sleep at home. Chun Ning's mother came back from grocery shopping. When she saw Ning Shu in the living room, she was stunned. Ning Shu called out to her mother. Chun Ning's mother called out uncertainly, Chun Ning. It's me, Ning Shu said. Chun Ning's mother said unhappily, Why did you come back? Why didn't you contact your family? Mom. Chun Ning quickly stopped Chun Ning's mother from talking. He was afraid that Ning Shu would be unhappy. Sister came back and bought so many things for you. Chen Ning's mother saw her son giving her a look. She sighed and said, "It's good that you're back. I'll go buy some more groceries." "Grandma, buy something that big sister likes to eat," the sister-in-law said to Chen Ning's mother. "Speaking of which, this is the first time I've seen big sister." Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. Did she mean to ask for a red packet? Ning Shu took the bag on the sofa and took out a red packet. He said, "I didn't come back for your wedding. This is my gift money." "Thank you, big sister." The sister-in-law happily put away the money. Chen An's face also showed a smile. The sister-in-law turned around and opened the red packet. Her face suddenly turned ugly. Why was there only 500 yuan? She was really a beggar. Her clothes and bag cost more than 10,000 yuan. Why was there only so little money? Chen An glanced at the money in the red packet and his face turned ugly. Ning Shu ignored the couple's ugly faces and said to Chen Ning's mother, "You don't have to prepare much. Just a little will do." "Don't go out to buy groceries on such a cold day," Ning Shu said. After a while, Chen Ning's father also came back. He also scolded Ning Shu, saying that Ning Shu had grown up. Probably because the red packet was too little, Chen An didn't speak up for Ning Shu this time. Ning Shu didn't say a word. He just listened to Chen Ning's father. "Since you're back this time, don't run around. Settle down properly," Chen Ning's father said. "Find someone to live with." Ning Shu said indifferently, "I'm leaving in a few days. I'm going back to work. I don't want to find someone for the time being." "Big sister, what's your job?" Chen An asked. Ning Shu looked at Chen An indifferently. "What do you think my job is?" "Big sister, don't tell me you." Chen An's expression was a little strange. Ning Shu's expression became even colder. "Put away your dirty thoughts. I work in a law firm. It's not as dirty as you think." Chen An still didn't believe it. His expression was still very doubtful. "You're a woman. What do you want to do if you don't get married? Don't ruin the Chen family's reputation." Chen Ning's father couldn't help but say, "I can't afford to lose face." "What did I do? Did I ruin the Chen family's reputation?" Ning Shu hugged the ignorant Nan Nan. "Dad, how can you say that about your daughter?" Chapter 958. After all this time, the Chen family thought that they had done something shameful. What a joke. Ning Shu stood up and said to Chen Ning's mother, "Mom, pack up. Come with me to buy some things. It's not easy for you to come back. I'll buy some clothes for you and Dad." "Dad, don't be angry. Let's go together," Chen An said. "Yes, father-in-law. It's not easy for big sister to come back," the sister-in-law said immediately. Chen Ning's mother nodded and went to change her clothes. Chen An and his wife also went into the house to change their clothes, planning to follow. Ning Shu brought Chen Ning's parents to a big mall to buy clothes. They picked out the best clothes. Chen An and his wife were also trying on clothes. After they were done, they asked the salesperson to take them to pay the bill. When it was time to pay, Ning Shu only picked out Chen Ning's parents' clothes and said to the salesperson, "Pack these up. I don't want anything else." Chen An and his wife's faces instantly darkened. Chen An said unhappily, "Sister, what do you mean by this? Can't you leave me some face outside? Who knows you here? What face do I need? I'm only buying for my parents. I didn't say I'm buying for you." Ning Shu said calmly and took out his card to pay the bill. "Chen Ning, your brother and sister. You have to support each other," Chen Ning's mother said. Ning Shu kept the card and said, "Mom, I worked hard to earn this money. It didn't grow on trees. I have no obligation to support him. He's my younger brother. Why don't I see him fork out a cent for me?" Chen An said unhappily, "If you don't want it, then don't. It doesn't matter who wants it." Chen An's wife's face turned green. Her eyes were fixed on the clothes. These were all things she wanted. She didn't have the money to buy them. She thought she could get her sister-in-law to pay for them. How stingy. Ning Shu took the bag of clothes and handed it to Chen Ning's mother. "I don't want my clothes. Return them and buy them for Chen An and his wife," Chen Ning's father said. "Thank you, father-in-law," the sister-in-law said quickly and asked the salesperson to pack up the clothes she liked. Ning Shu pursed his lips, took out Chen Ning's father's clothes and said, We don't want this. Ning Shu took the refund and said to Chen Ning's mother, Mom, I'm going to buy you some gold jewelry. Ning Shu pulled Chen Ning's mother away. Who was he trying to scare? Wasn't he just trying to get her to buy it for that couple? Chen Ning's father was stunned for a moment, and then his face turned ashen. Chen Nin and his wife's faces were even worse. Ning Shu brought Chen Ning's mother to a gold shop and bought her a necklace, bracelet, and earrings. Chen Ning's father's face was dark the whole time. It was probably because they were outside and he couldn't get angry. Seeing that Chen Ning was buying jewelry, her sister-in-law also picked out a few pieces. Ning Shu still did not pay, and only gave Chen Ning's mother money for the jewelry. Sis, why are you so petty? Chen Nin saw that his wife's expression wasn't good, so he immediately shouted at Ning Shu. Ning Shu lightly said, I don't owe you anything. Ning Shu also bought a big gold ring for Chen Ning's father. It was probably made of gold. Chen Ning's father didn't refuse this time. The family walked around the mall. There were many branded stores in the mall. Ning Shu's sister-in-law kept trying to pull Ning Shu into a branded store. The main reason was that she was very happy to see Ning Shu pay. With a swipe of the card, thousands of dollars were gone. With another swipe, so much money was gone. What the sister-in-law wanted most was a bag, a branded bag. Women had a stubborn obsession with bags. Wasn't there a saying that a bag could cure all diseases? Ning Shu directly ignored this sister-in-law. Sometimes, it was true that birds of a feather flock together. This sister-in-law was exactly the same as her freeloading younger brother. She heard that her younger brother didn't have a job. Basically, he didn't last long in any job. He was either fired or felt that his job wasn't good enough, and left on his own. He felt that there was no place for him to stay. He was a freeloader. Her sister-in-law didn't work either. The whole family was counting on Chen Ning's father for a little retirement income. Even so, Chen Ning's father was still biased towards his son. He felt that his son could support him in his old age. For such a person, supporting him in old age was simply a joke. Ning Shu bought clothes for the old couple, as well as things like quilts and sheets. Ning Shu planned to go back to the hotel after leaving the mall. She was an outsider in this family. Anyway, whatever she did was wrong. However, she didn't expect that enemies would meet on a narrow road. She met in Jinwei. A woman was holding in Jinwei's arm, and the two were talking and laughing. And Jinwei was stunned when he saw the Chen family. He was about to leave when he saw Ning Shu holding a child. And Jinwei stared at Ning Shu for a long time. He felt that this woman was Chen Ning, but he didn't dare to recognize her because the current Chen Ning was very different from Ning Shu. Her temperament was outstanding. She was a completely different person from the Chen Ning, who didn't have much of a presence before. And Jinwei was very worried. Looking at this woman, he guessed that she was doing well. A man could abandon a woman. If a woman was miserable and thought of him, begging him not to leave her, the man would feel very good. However, a woman who he didn't want was doing well after leaving him. She was even better than when she was with him. It was a little embarrassing and hurt his self-esteem. And Jinwei felt very unhappy. At the same time, he was a little shocked. How did this woman suddenly become so beautiful? The clothes she wore were quite elegant. And Jinwei's heart skipped a beat. However, he immediately remembered what this crazy woman had done. She had made him a scumbag. Until now, he couldn't call her his wife. And Jinwei was furious. He strode over to Ning Shu. With a black face, he shouted at Ning Shu. Chen Ning, look at what you've done. I gave you 150,000 yuan, but you still put the recording on the forum. Ning Shu lightly said. I said that if you gave me 200,000 yuan, I would give you everything. However, I only gave you 150,000 yuan. I'm not satisfied with the price of 150,000 yuan. 150,000 yuan is only enough to buy the video. And Jinwei was flustered and exasperated. He thought that this woman would panic and refute, but he didn't expect her to be so calm. Her gaze made him very unhappy. It was so calm and so disdainful. I won't let you off. And Jinwei's gaze focused on Nanan's face. Nanan was a little afraid as she hugged Ning Shu's arm. This girl is my and family's blood. I want the child back. And Jinwei threatened. He felt that using the child would definitely make Ning Shu compromise. Ning-Shu couldn't be bothered to look at Jinwei anymore. And Jinwei was now a little chubby. He wasn't as skinny and tall as he used to be. He looked uglier than before. Is your brain made of tofu? I am Nanan's guardian. Please study a little. Ning-Shu shook his head and said to the Chen family, let's go. You're so famous now. You must be a mistress for a rich person. Or you must be a prostitute. What are you pretending to be? Chapter 959. And Jinwei tried his best to break the calmness on Ning-Shu's face. He even slandered Ning-Shu as a mistress. And Jinwei said from behind Ning-Shu, do you know why I didn't want you back then? You're a woman who doesn't know how to behave. This was a shopping mall, and there were people coming and going all around. When Jinwei saw that so many people were looking at him, he immediately shouted, saying that Ning-Shu was a mistress who went to bed for money. Ning-Shu was recording with his phone with a cold expression. And Jinwei's words made the Chen family's face turn ugly. Chen An's wife pulled Chen An to the side to avoid being implicated. Chen Ning's father was livid and stood to the side. This daughter of his really embarrassed him. It was bad enough that she had a child after divorce, but now she was being accused of being indecent. Chen Ning's father was already dissatisfied with the clothes incident. Now that something like this happened and people were pointing at him, Chen Ning's father was even more dissatisfied with Ning-Shu. And Jinwei saw that there were more and more people around, and he became more and more excited. He turned his head proudly, and saw that Ning-Shu was recording again. His heart trembled. The last time he was recorded, he lost 150,000 yuan. Now he was recording again. And Jinwei immediately shut his mouth and ran over to Ning-Shu's phone. Ning-Shu put the phone away. Ning-Shu shook his head speechlessly. Haven't you learned your lesson from last time? Chen Ning, give it to me. And Jinwei roared at Ning-Shu, scaring Nan who was beside him. She hid behind Ning-Shu. Don't worry, I'll definitely give it to you. Ning-Shu's expression became fierce. Wait for my lawyer's letter. What do you mean? And Jinwei had a bad feeling in his heart, but he still held on. Who are you trying to scare? You're still looking for your mistress to deal with me. Let me tell you, I'm not afraid of anyone. Ning-Shu's expression was cold. Do you still need others to deal with you? I can deal with you with one finger. Ning-Shu turned to Chen Ning's mother and said, I'm leaving. Ning-Shu picked up Nan, glanced at the Chen family members, and sneered. This was what Mother Chen meant by mutual support. When she was slandered and bullied by others, no one in the Chen family stood up for her. She was probably blaming her for embarrassing herself in her heart. What mutual support? It was just an excuse to take money from her and make her contribute. Feelings were mutual. How could there be such a good thing to ask someone to contribute unilaterally? Sometimes even family members were unreliable. Women had to pin their hopes on a man to love them and treat them well. They longed for an illusory good man. Ning-Shu carried Nan and left. And Jinwei ignored the woman who came with him and chased after Ning-Shu. He grabbed Ning-Shu's arm. What do you mean? Give me the video. I won't be as stupid as before. I'll give you the money. Ning-Shu shook off Jinwei's hand. Don't touch me. Let me tell you, this time you're not willing to pay. I'll make you pay. Just you wait. Ning-Shu hailed a car and left. He turned around and saw Jinwei standing on the side of the road. His face was simply unbearable to look at. Ning-Shu sneered. I'll make sure you don't dare to provoke me again. Ning-Shu directly appealed, accusing Jinwei of slander. And Jinwei deliberately fabricated and spread fictitious facts, belittled others' character, and destroyed others' reputation. Ning-Shu was familiar with the various appeals process. He used the fastest speed to settle this matter. Soon the court summons arrived at the Yin family. When Jinwei saw the court summons, he was almost dumbfounded. Seeing that the plaintiff was Chen Ning, Jinwei was furious. He just casually said a few words and this woman sued him. She was making a mountain out of a molehill. Jinwei's father put on his presbyopic glasses and looked at the court summons. He saw Chen Ning's name. Why did this woman appear again? I met her in the mall before. I just said a few words and she recorded it again. Jinwei brushed his hair. Jinwei's father immediately took off his presbyopic glasses and threw it at Jinwei. and Jinwei was hit in the face and couldn't help but cover his face. Why did you still provoke this woman? Now you're being sued in court? And Jinwei's father couldn't help but say. During this period of time, this matter is finally being forgotten. Now you're going to court again. And Jinwei's father was so angry that his face turned green. Very few people were willing to go to court. It was better to have less trouble and settle it privately. But now that the court summons had arrived, the chances of settling it privately were not high. Call her and settle it privately. And Jinwei's father said tiredly. After this matter, you should hurry up and get a wife and live a good life. You're getting more and more outrageous. And Jinwei wanted to tear Ningxu apart, but he didn't know Ningxu's phone number. When he went to the Chen family to find Ningxu, he was told that he didn't go home at all, and was staying in a hotel. The Chen family didn't know where Ningxu lived. And Jinwei couldn't find Ningxu and had no way to settle it privately. He could only wait for the court session. It was time for the court session. Even if the Yin family didn't want to go to court, they had no choice. The Yin family of 3 waited at the entrance of the court. The Yin family's old couple had aged a lot in the past 2 or 3 years. The unforeseen event had damaged the Yin family's vitality. It felt like they had hurt their roots. There was always a feeling of desolation. Ningxu took a car to the entrance of the court. She was wearing a neat office lady's suit and black high heels. Her hair was neatly combed, and her face was covered with light makeup. She looked very good. She looked sharp and professional. Ningxu walked in her high heels and walked in front of the Yin family. And Jinwei looked at Ningxu in a daze. Ningxu smiled. I'm a lawyer. As for the mistress you mentioned, you said it was a sex worker. How did you become a lawyer? And Jinwei really couldn't imagine that a professional and serious profession like a lawyer would be related to a crazy woman. Chen Ning, you bitch. Why do you have to stick to my son? And Jinwei's mother pointed at Ningxu and scolded. Ningxu said lightly. At the entrance of the court, watch your words. Your son stood in the dock today and spoke nonsense. You. And Jinwei's mother pointed at Ningxu, but didn't dare to say anything. And Jinwei looked at Ningxu and said, let's settle it privately. How much do you want? Ningxu said with a smile. I don't want money now. You speak ill of me as soon as you open your mouth. I want you to not dare to speak nonsense when you see me in the future. Chen Ning, leave a line for when you do things. I want to see you in the future. And Jinwei's father said with a sullen face. Ningxu narrowed her eyes. See you in the future? When your son saw me, he slandered me as a mistress and a prostitute. This is what you mean by see you in the future. If I compromise a little, will this pot of shit be put on my head? Chapter 960. And Jinwei's case couldn't be more simple. If there was evidence, there was evidence. If there was a basis, there was a basis. Any case that Ningxu casually fought in a law firm was more complicated than this. And Jinwei looked at Ningxu, who was dressed in a suit. His face was ashen, but his eyes were shining. He kept staring at Ningxu. Ningxu asked the defendant to compensate him for the damage to his reputation and mental damage of 50,000 yuan. The old couple from the Yin family almost jumped up when they heard the price of 50,000 yuan. And Jinwei pursed his lips. No one knew what he was thinking. He actually agreed to pay 50,000 yuan. And Jinwei's mother almost fainted. The lawsuit quickly ended. Outside the court, Ningxu said to Jinwei, this is my bank account number. Transfer the money to me. Chen Ning. And Jinwei called out to Ningxu. With a gentle face he asked, is Nan okay? You're in a lawsuit while she's alone at home? Ningxu looked at Jinwei. What does it have to do with you? How is it none of my business? I'm also Nanan's father. And Jinwei hurriedly said. He stood in front of Ningxu and hesitated. Chen Ning, let's get back together and raise Nanan well. Fuck, Ningxu almost vomited on Jinwei's face. How could a person be so shameless? Now that she can earn money and recover, he wants to get back together. Fuck, was she too polite? And Jinwei saw that Ningxu didn't speak. He even reached out to hold Ningxu's hand. Ningxu directly slapped him in the face. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. You better not provoke me. Otherwise, I'll play you to death. If you have the ability, come play with me. See if I don't play you to death. Ningshu sneered. Am I someone you can dump and pick up? Ningshu walked away in her high heels, and Jinwei covered his face. His eyes were filled with hatred. Now this woman is not someone you can deal with. You'd better put away those thoughts. And Jinwei's father sighed. The money she earns should be ours, and Jinwei's mother said. She's already grown up, sigh. And Jinwei's father sighed helplessly. He seemed to have aged a lot. Ningshu walked out of the courthouse. The Chen family was waiting for Ningshu at the intersection. Chen hurriedly walked in front of Ningshu. Sis, how did you become a lawyer? Ningshu coldly glanced at her, hailed a cab and left. He did not say a single word to the Chen family, as he went to the nursery to pick up Nan Nan. The Chen family was the original owner's family, not hers. As for how the original owner would deal with them, Ningshu didn't care. If he didn't become strong, then he shouldn't blame the dogs for following him around. How he lived was his own choice. It wasn't easy for a divorced woman to raise a child. She felt that she didn't have enough time. She had to work every day, take care of the child, be a mother and a father, and be responsible for teaching the child. Her energy was limited. Ningshu's mission was to be a lawyer. As for merit, Ningshu didn't think about it anymore. A career was already too busy. He only hoped that Chen Ning could come back and live a good life with the child. Ningshu was ready to go back after picking up Nan Nan. When he returned to the hotel, Ningshu received a text from the bank. She had transferred 50,000 yuan to her bank account. It was quite fast. The Yin family didn't dare to go back on their word. Commoners were most afraid of dealing with officials. Going to court was quite troublesome and embarrassing. Ningshu bought a plane ticket and left. The Chen family wanted to get closer to Ningshu, but the other party didn't say a word. Moreover, they didn't even know how to contact the other party. This made Chenan and Nan furious. They thought that with a capable sister, it would be much easier to borrow money in the future. However, the other party was like snot, completely ignoring them. Stingy. She didn't know how to support her family after earning money. Ungrateful thing. Chenan couldn't help but get angry at his parents. Look at the good daughter you raised. She's so cold and heartless. She's afraid that poor relatives like us will fall for her. She's hiding far away. Chen Ning's mother pursed her lips. You're also a capable person. When you encounter problems, you don't know how to care about your sister. People's hearts are made of flesh. Your sister is so bitterly disappointed that she doesn't want to care about you at all. No matter what, I'm still her brother, Chenan said with a look of disdain. Who would be as heartless as her? All right, it's her business that she's rich. Just pretend that you never gave birth to this daughter. I told you not to come, but you insisted. Now you're sticking your warm face to her cold ass. Chen Ning's father said angrily. He turned and left. He was very disgusted with this daughter of his who didn't give him any face. Ningshu didn't care about the resentment, annoyance, and blame in the Chen family's hearts. She took the box and left. She returned to the small apartment and cooked a table of delicious food for the spring festival. So what if there were many people? They were not united. If Ningshu had to choose, she would rather live such a life. After the spring festival, Ningshu started to work. Sometimes, family was really not as good as colleagues or strangers. Some family members used kinship to kidnap you. Because you're their daughter, because you're their sister, because you're... Therefore, it was only right to make you contribute. You contributed endlessly, and you didn't know how to be grateful. If you were living well, you should support your other siblings. If you were living a poor life, then you deserved it. Sometimes human nature was so despairing. Sometimes, we were willing to believe what life should be like. However, indulging in our own ideal world couldn't solve any problems. Seeing reality and making plans early was the only way to be responsible for one's life. After the spring festival, the Yin family planned to find a wife for Yin Jinwei. Ever since Yin Jinwei saw the radiant Chen Ning, who was also a powerful lawyer and made a lot of money, he wanted to start over with Chen Ning. However, the Yin family's old couple didn't agree at all. The current Chen Ning was not someone the Yin family could control. Even if she married into the Yin family again, she would definitely be an arrogant and domineering existence. Everyone in the Yin family was a slave. Previously, when Chun Ning had nothing, she had already made the Yin family like this. If she came back, would the Yin family have to live under her whims? Marrying a wife was not marrying an ancestor. Whether Jinwei was willing or not, through blind dates, Jinwei got married again. It was a woman who was about the same age as him. This woman was also divorced and had a child, but the child was given to the man. And Jinwei was unwilling. A divorced woman who had given birth to a child was completely different from the good woman he had imagined. He felt that he had picked up someone else's abandoned shoe. His ex-wife, Chun Ning, was like a different person now. She was completely different from before. Chapter 961. Jinwei didn't like this woman when he went on the blind date, but he was pressured by his parents and could only get married. To a certain extent, Jinwei was actually a giant baby who hadn't been weaned. He listened to his parents' arrangements. His marriage with Chun Ning was arranged by his parents, and now his marriage was arranged by his parents. If Jinwei saw his ex-wife living a miserable and embarrassing life, he would be happy to start a new life. But now, Chun Ning was living like a superior person. She was many times better than him. She was capable, bold, and now charming. So in comparison, his new wife was not good. Even if he wanted to marry, he had to marry a better wife than Chun Ning. The two of them were not comparable at all. Because of his unwillingness, Jinwei didn't take this wife to heart. He ignored this wife just like how he ignored Chun Ning in the past. Anyway, marrying a wife was to take care of the family, and then serve the family. However, Jinwei's wife was not easy to deal with. Because she was divorced, she was selfish and knew how to plan for herself. She made a fuss to get Jinwei's salary card. In the Yin family, a daughter-in-law wanting to control the economy was simply rebellious. The Yin family's old couple would not agree, and Jinwei would not agree. In the future, he would have to reach out to a woman to buy things. How could a man like him stand this? It was not easy for the Yin family to divorce a woman. Divorce was tearing a family apart. No one could stand the back and forth. There was no other way. Jinwei's father asked his son to give his salary card to his daughter-in-law. Only then did his daughter-in-law stop making a fuss. The Yin family felt very tired, so if they could use compromise in exchange for a short period of peace, they would compromise. Now Jinwei was already in his 30s, but he didn't even have a child. He had a nan-nan, but he wasn't with the Yin family. So Jinwei's mother urged her new daughter-in-law to have a child all day long. She was urged to have a child all day long. She kept nagging that a child couldn't be born just because she wanted to, so there was a conflict. Everyone was unhappy to be forced to have a child. Anyway, the conflict between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law was very big. You didn't like me, I didn't like you. Any trivial matter could cause chaos in the family. A little thing, a look could cause a family war. His family life was not pleasant. Jinwei's condition was not good. He had to work every day, but when he returned home, he still had to face the foul atmosphere of his home. At this time, Jinwei missed Chun Ning, who had just gotten married. She had tidied up the house and didn't have to worry about anything at home. With his parents forcing him to have a child, Jinwei was a little scared at night. He felt like a breeding pig being dragged by his wife to mate. When it came to pregnancy, the more anxious one was, the worse one's condition would be. Jinwei was perfunctory every time. He couldn't enjoy the feeling of intimacy between a man and a woman. Since she couldn't get pregnant, the woman could only blame it on Jinwei. After all, the woman had given birth to a child before. Jinwei also felt that he was not responsible. He even gave birth to a daughter. In short, a marriage without feelings would not compromise because of love. Whenever there was a small matter, they would resent each other. Although they were husband and wife, they were more like enemies. Life was a form of torture. As Ningxu took on more and more cases, he gradually made a name for himself in the legal profession, and was respectfully called a gold medal lawyer. When Ningxu had nothing to do, he would accompany the child or memorize the law. Anyway, there was nothing wrong with memorizing more. Who knows, it might be useful in the future. When Nan was almost 4 years old, 2333's voice sounded. Mission completed. Do you want to leave the mission world? Ningxu nodded. Leave. Ningxu kissed the sleeping Nan Nan. His mind was in a daze for a moment before he returned to the system space. Phew. Ningxu let out a long breath. He relaxed for a moment and deeply inhaled the fragrance of the flowers in the pot. His mood calmed down. He deeply felt that the most complicated and unbearable things in the world were these trivial matters. It couldn't be considered a deep hatred, but it was the most torturous. A person who endured this year after year was almost like a saint. Number 2333 Name Ningxu Intermediate Mission Taker. Age 27 points, 18. 15 million/4 million soul. 320 life, 91 wisdom, 284 charm, 10 luck, 129 spiritual power, 190 faith, 55153000 martial strength, 202 aptitude, 89 merit, 12955 skills. 5th ring shooting technique, trash fighting technique, basic peerless martial arts, basic poison technique, basic business management knowledge, basic code programming, basic lawyer skills, basic ghost catching skills. Honorary titles: Goddess of War, Selfless Ancestor Tools, Calm Aura, Faith Aura, Amulet 5, Upgraded Amulet 2 Aura, Mother of the World Queen's Blessing, Model Worker Chen-Chi's Blessing, Leader Aura Grass Blessing, Best Friend for a Lifetime, Miao Miao Miao's Blessing, Lifesaver Zhu Sunyang's Blessing, Founding Female General, Chen Ermiai's Blessing, Lady Justice, Chen Ning's Blessing, Completed Chen Ning's Wish. Mission completion rate is 100%. Obtain 4 million points, 60 attribute points, 3,000 faith, received Chen Ning's instructions, received the Aura Lady Justice. The harvest was not bad. Ningxu was very satisfied. With Chen Ning's instructions he could obtain more faith. And this time he actually obtained 3,000 faith. It was the contribution of these auras. In addition, there were people who practiced their own peerless martial arts. The faith was increasing. Ningxu smiled and distributed the 60 attribute points. Number 2333 Name Ningxu Intermediate Mission Taker. Age 27 points, 21. 15 million soul, 320 HP, 9110 wisdom, 28410 charm, 1010 luck, 12910 MP, 19010 faith, 8515 martial strength, 20210 aptitude, 89 merit, 12955 skills. 5th ring shooting technique, trash fighting technique, beginner peerless martial arts, beginner poison technique, beginner business management knowledge, beginner code programming, beginner lawyer skill, ghost catching skill. Honorary titles: Goddess of War, Selfless Ancestor Tools, Calm Aura, Faith Aura, Amulet 5, Upgraded Amulet 2 Aura, Mother of the World Queen's Blessing, Model Worker Chen-Chi's Blessing, Leader Aura Grass Blessing, Best Friend for a Lifetime, Miao Miao Miao's Blessing, Lifesaver Zhu Sunyang's Blessing, Founding Female General Chen Ermiai's Blessing, Lady Justice Chen Ning's Blessing. Chapter 962. With 2,000 points, he could be promoted to a high-level mission enforcer. Ningxu looked at his 20 million points and was quite excited. He said to 2333, "Can I be promoted to a high-level mission enforcer?" Yes, you can be promoted to a high-level mission enforcer. However, there is a special mission every time. You can only do it after completing the special mission. 2333 said, "You can also not participate in the special mission and directly become a high-level mission enforcer." I cannot participate? Ningxu was stunned. There must be conditions. You can spend 3,000 merit points or 5,000 faith points. 2333 said, "The difficulty of the special mission is different. Some people get very easy missions, while others get very difficult missions. It all depends on your luck. However, I suggest that you participate in the special mission and take it one step at a time." 2333 said. Ningxu nodded. "Of course. It costs me 3,000 merit points and 5,000 faith points. That's asking for my life. An upgraded version of the amulet only costs 100 merit points. Even if I fail, I still have the amulet." Ningxu knew how to calculate this. 2333. "But your high-level special mission will fail." 2333 said helplessly. 2333 said helplessly. Even if we start over, we will need to consume merit points and faith power. Damn, it felt like he wanted to exploit these poor people all the time. How frustrating. I'll take it one step at a time. Ningxu said Ba in his heart. His luck must be very good. He always added points to his luck points. Ding dong. A notification sounded in the chat system. Ningxu sat cross-legged on the sofa and opened the chat system. It was a message from Mei Ziqing. She excitedly told him that she had become a high-level mission enforcer and had entered a new space. A new space? Ningxu asked Mei Ziqing. What new space? Ding dong. Mei Ziqing quickly replied. It's a space that only high-level mission enforcers can enter. It's the same as the virtual space. Ningxu congratulated Mei Ziqing for becoming a high-level mission enforcer. He opened the system store and spent a few faith points to exchange for some gifts for Mei Ziqing. Mei Ziqing was the only person who could talk to Ningxu since he started doing missions. Why are you spending so much money? You don't have to buy anything for me. Save your merit and power of faith to become a super mission giver. Mei Ziqing said as he tried to return the items to Ningxu. Don't. Congratulations. This is my gift to you. I won't be happy if you return it. Ningxu asked again. Only super mission enforcers can enter this space. Are there a lot of treasures inside? Is there a world's origin? Maybe. I'll keep an eye out for you. Mei Ziqing sent a message over. After chatting with Mei Ziqing for a while, Ningxu turned off the chat and asked 2333. Are there any other spaces other than the virtual space? Of course, the virtual space has the most number of mission enforcers, and it's also the lowest level. Other than the space that can only be entered by super mission enforcers, there are other spaces above, and even fewer people can enter them. There's also a space for the strongest to enter. It's like a pyramid. There are layers and layers of selection. The number of people standing at the top is the least. Otherwise, how can it show the superiority of the strong? 2333 said. Ningxu. 2333 said earnestly. You're now one of the people at the bottom. After the special mission, you'll be the concubine system. Ningxu. Let me finish the special mission first. Ningxu sat cross-legged on the sofa and began to cultivate and absorb the power of the soul. When he finished cultivating, Ningxu lay down on the sofa and slept. After sleeping for a long time, Ningxu woke up full of energy. He took out the Ultimate Martial Art Manual from the bookshelf. The words Ultimate Martial Art Manual were written in small seal script. There was a golden light flowing around it, and it looked very beautiful. Ningxu held the manual in his hand. It was very heavy. He felt that the manual was getting heavier, and there were more and more things inside. The energy formed all kinds of plants, animals, the sun, the moon, and the stars. However, she hadn't found the origin of her world yet. It was really not easy to create a plane. Cough cough. 2333 said. It's not enough to just create a habitable plane. All living things will be born, grow old, get sick and die. Reincarnation. A world must have a cycle of life and death. If everyone dies, there will be no new life. All living things will go extinct. Your world might not have any living things. Ningxu. Fuck, I'm not doing this anymore. Why is it so troublesome? Could it be that her world couldn't be like the planes born from the Sea of Law? It could evolve on its own and perfect the heavenly Tao? Creating a world was really a huge project. She didn't even know how to build a house, and now she had to create a world. No wonder some super mission enforcers couldn't create a world. A world was really too complicated. It was too difficult. Ningxu let out a long breath. No matter how difficult it was, she had to create a world that belonged to her. Only then could she be considered to have jumped out of the shackles of a mission enforcer. She wouldn't be killed so easily. Ningxu closed the manual and put it on the bookshelf. He took out another book from the bookshelf and read it. After reading it, he closed the book and asked 2333. Is the special mission randomly selected? Yes. 2333 said. After completing the special mission, you can become a high-level mission enforcer. Ningxu took a deep breath. He couldn't help but shake his legs. He said to 2333. Then let's enter the mission. Okay. As soon as 2333's voice fell, Ningxu felt dizzy. After his soul and body merged, Ningxu opened his eyes and saw 3 boys around him. The 3 boys were quite handsome. They had slender bodies. Their hands were in their pockets. When they were on the grass, they looked like beautiful young men. Because it was a special mission, Ningxu hadn't received the storyline yet. Every time he received a special mission, he would be confused. Ningxu didn't know why the 3 boys were surrounding him. Yi Xiaotong, come and clean my shoes. The boy in front of Ningxu smiled maliciously at Ningxu. Ningxu was speechless. Ningxu glanced at the boy's shoes. It was a pair of snow-white shoes. There wasn't even a speck of dirt. He coughed and said, "Your shoes aren't dirty." Yi Xiaotong, you've learned how to talk back now? The boy tilted his head. He had an ear diamond in his ear. As he moved, the diamond reflected a destructive light. It made him look very mischievous and evil. He looked at Ningxu with eyes full of malice. He kicked the lawn with his feet, causing his shoes to be stained with some mud. Chapter 963. Ningxu was surrounded by 3 boys, and all of them were handsome boys. She was surrounded by a large lawn, and a pond not far away. However, there was no one around. Looking at the surrounding buildings, she should be in a school. Ningxu couldn't help but touch her face. Was this body so beautiful that they wanted to rape her? Yi Xiaotong, come over and clean my shoes. Oh, Haoshuan tilted his head and looked at Ningxu. Take the initiative and clean my shoes. Ningxu looked down, and saw that the boy's shoes were stained with mud and grass. He deliberately made them dirty so that she could clean them. What's wrong? Now you know how to resist. Oh, Haoshuan's face became very cold. He took a few steps and walked in front of Ningxu. As Oh Haoshuan approached, Ningxu's body began to tremble uncontrollably. This body was afraid of this person. Ningxu couldn't help but take a step back and stare at this handsome boy. He had a noble aura. The clothes on his body were very expensive. He was either rich or noble. As soon as she arrived, she was surrounded by 3 boys. Ningxu felt that she was at odds with the school world. The first time she was surrounded in the toilet, this time she was surrounded by boys. They all had bad intentions. Ningxu hadn't accepted the storyline. The most important thing for the trial mission was to stay alive and wait for 2333 to tell her to leave this world. Haoshuan, why are you talking nonsense with her? If she doesn't listen to you, beat her until she does. The boy on Ningxu's left said rudely. He crossed his arms and looked at Ningxu. Damn these naughty kids. Ningxu turned and ran. As if they had expected Ningxu to do this, Ningxu was stopped by 2 boys. Ningxu used a strong palm and pushed the 2 boys over. When the 2 boys were pushed to the ground by Ningxu, they were stunned. Obviously, they didn't expect Ningxu to have the guts to do such a thing. His handsome face was contorted as if he had been offended. Ningxu ran off without looking back. He needed to find a place to receive the plot. Yi Xiaotong, get your ass back here. Otherwise, you won't be able to bear the consequences. Ningxu shouted from behind. Ningxu ran even faster. Wang Haoshuan and the other 2 boys' expressions were unusually cold as they stretched their necks. Little pets are disobedient now. Looks like they need to be trained. Ningxu found a remote place and began to accept the plot. The original owner was called Yi Xiaotong. She was 16 years old and was an orphan. She had a twin brother who was mentally retarded. The brother's IQ was only 5 or 6 years old. Because there was no source of income, Yi Xiaotong could only pick up garbage to support herself and her brother. Yi Xiaotong was an orphan, but she studied in an elite school. The principal of the school saw that Yi Xiaotong and her brother were living a hard life, so he let Yi Xiaotong study in the school. He didn't let Yi Xiaotong pay the school fees, so that she could change her fate by studying. It wasn't that the principal was kind, but Yi Xiaotong's father was the principal's chauffeur. He died in a car accident while saving the principal. The father died, leaving behind a son and a daughter. The son was still mentally retarded. Yi Xiaotong's mother abandoned the siblings and left. There had been no news of her. She probably started a new life. The principal was kind, but this was an elite school. The people who came here were all favored by the heavens. They were the descendants of rich and noble families. They were either officials or rich. In a place like this, it was normal for someone like Yi Xiaotong to be ostracized because she was not acclimatized. The three people who surrounded Ningxu before were Wang Haoxuan, Mu Yeyao, and Min Haochu. These three people were the most influential people in this elite school. Ningxu was a little speechless. Why did these schools always have the existence of F4? Their families were so rich that they could stomp their feet, and the Asian economy would be in turmoil. Wherever he went, there would be girls screaming, "So handsome, so handsome. Ha ha ha, a rich school hunk and a girl who was like a weed." There would definitely be a touching campus love story. Yi Xiaotong was like a Chinese cabbage. As if people at that level saw things differently. In their eyes, a girl who picked up trash was a reptile, a lowly reptile. They did not treat her as a human at all. They never treated Yi Xiaotong as a girl. Even if they tortured her, they would never touch Yi Xiaotong. They would not let their bodies enter such a dirty woman's body. It was like seeing a mouse in a ditch, so they took a branch and pressed it on the mouse's body, pressing it into the ditch. They watched the mouse struggle, and when the mouse was about to die, they picked it up and stopped it from dying. Then they used the branch to press the mouse into the water. Or they teased the mouse and forced it to the foot of the wall. They saw the mouse running around in panic, and tortured it bit by bit. It was not easy to meet such a toy. These overly energetic brats thought of all kinds of ways to torture people. They called it training pets. Yi Xiaotong could not bear such torture at all. She lived in fear every day. She wanted to take her brother and leave this school, but these three people's families were very powerful. How could she escape? There was no escape at all. Yi Xiaotong just wanted to live with dignity. Although her brother was mentally retarded, he was a painting genius. God took away her brother's intelligence, but gave him an unparalleled artistic talent. Yi Xiaotong felt that in this aristocratic school, no one could compare to her brother's artistic talent. Yi Xiaotong hoped that one day she could help her brother organize an art exhibition. But now Yi Xiaotong, who was being tortured, felt that this was an unattainable dream. Ningxu directly sat cross-legged on the ground and began to cultivate. The peerless martial arts were his, and the system could not take it away. No matter what, the most important thing was to have the power to protect himself. He also had to protect his stupid brother. If she could not enter this school, perhaps Yi Xiaotong would not have encountered this. She was wronged here, and there was no one to help her. The principal was only a person who managed the school. He had no power at all. He had to be polite when facing these princes. Although they were students here, they had to consider the power behind the students. As for shouting with dignity like stubborn weeds, they were just the dregs of society. They had nothing but money. Maybe they would not see the sun tomorrow. There were people with power and influence here. It was too easy to make a brother and sister, who were alone and picking up trash, disappear. It was like a drop of water in the sea, without any ripples. Ningxu was cultivating when he heard the school broadcast. Yi Xiaotong, you have 1 minute to come to the field immediately. Otherwise you will have to bear the consequences. The one who spoke was Da Haoxuan. His voice was quite cold, but it had a charming magnetism. Sister, I'm scared. An unclear voice came from the broadcast. This was the voice of Yi Xiaotong's brother, Yi Xiaodong. Chapter 964. It had only been a while, but Wang Haoxuan and the others had actually found Yi Xiaodong. Yi Xiaodong should have been in the studio. These people. Yi Xiaodong's fearful whimpers were transmitted to every corner of the school through the broadcast. The helpless whimpers made Ningxu's heart twitch. Yi Xiaodong's IQ was only 5 or 6 years old. He would definitely be frightened in such a situation. Yi Xiaodong, you still have 40 seconds. What if you're late? Wang Haoxuan's voice was gloomy, and then Yi Xiaodong's screams came from the broadcast. Ningxu quickly stood up and looked around. He wanted to find a suitable weapon, so he could only break a thumb-sized branch. There were some sharp thorns where the branch was broken. Ningxu put the branch in his pocket and hurried to the sports field. This aristocratic school was not ordinary. Ningxu still took a shortcut. When he reached the sports field, it was already more than 40 seconds. There were many people gathered on the sports field. Wang Haoxuan, Mu Yeyao, and Min Haochu looked at Ningxu with playful expressions. Ningxu noticed Yi Xiaodong. Yi Xiaodong was held by someone. His face was covered in wounds, and the corners of his mouth were broken. When he saw Ningxu, he helplessly called out for his sister. Yi Xiaodong's face was delicate, but there was a sense of confusion and cowardice between his eyebrows. When he didn't speak, he looked like a normal person, but when he opened his mouth, his low IQ was exposed. He was wearing very old clothes with footprints all over them. It was obvious that he had been kicked. Ningxu pursed his lips tightly. He reached into his pocket and held the branch tightly. "You're late." Mu Yeyao moved his neck and raised his wrist to look at his watch. "You're almost a minute late." Mu Yeyao had a murderous aura. When he moved his neck, it made cracking sounds. Ningxu's pupils shrank. This person was not weak. "As punishment for your lateness." Mu Yeyao raised his foot and kicked Yi Xiaodong in the stomach. Yi Xiaodong immediately cried out in pain. His body curled up and he spat out everything in his stomach. The surrounding people covered their noses and retreated. The student who was carrying Yi Xiaodong directly threw Yi Xiaodong to the ground. Yi Xiaodong fell to the ground and howled in pain. He looked at Ningxu pitifully and whimpered, calling for his sister. Ningxu's scalp was about to explode. All kinds of chaotic emotions attacked her heart, and she couldn't help but move 2 steps. "Mu Yeyao, are you trying to disgust me?" Fan Haoshuan pinched his nose and said with dissatisfaction. His face was full of disgust. Mu Yeyao shrugged his shoulders and said without any sincerity, "Sorry, I'll be more careful next time." Fu Haoshuan turned his head and moved his feet. "Come here and wipe my shoes clean. Otherwise, your brother will be the unlucky one." "You're not willing?" Fu Haoshuan looked at Ningxu indifferently. "Beat this idiot to death and then feed him a bucket of shit." After Fu Haoshuan finished speaking, a school staff member came over with a bucket of feces. The surrounding people immediately hid far away. It was too smelly. "Feed him." Fu Haoshuan waved his hand. "As punishment for your hesitation, after your brother finishes eating, you can continue to eat. Since we're siblings, we should share weal and woe. I won't favor one and discriminate against the other." So disgusting. The surrounding people made strange sounds. Their faces were full of disgust and watching a good show. Most of them kept their mouths shut to avoid getting into trouble. The staff member brought the bucket of feces in front of Yi Xiaodong. "Wait a minute." Ningxu shouted and ran in front of Fu Haoshuan. Fu Haoshuan sneered and raised his foot. "Wipe it." Ningxu slowly squatted down. The surrounding people burst into laughter. Fu Haoshuan's expression was contemptuous and mocking. "You really need to be taught a lesson." When Ningxu squatted down, he quickly stood up. His arm locked around Fu Haoshuan's neck. He took out a branch from his pocket and pressed it against Fu Haoshuan's neck. There were so many people here. There was no way she could escape. Instead of being tortured by these people, she might as well fight to the death. Ningxu's sudden action stunned the surrounding people. They immediately laughed at Ningxu. Even if Fu Haoshuan was kidnapped, the surrounding people did not take it to heart. They thought that Ningxu would not dare to do anything extreme. Interesting. Min Haochu clapped his hands. His clapping was very elegant. These 3 school hunks each had their own characteristics. Fu Haoshuan was domineering and cold, Mu Yeyao was violent and cruel, and Min Haochu was charming and flirtatious. However, he still made the girls in the school faint. "Min Haochu, you still dare to gloat?" Fu Haoshuan, who was kidnapped, was livid. Min Haochu smiled and said, "Don't be angry. If the pet is disobedient, just train it again. Don't you think it's more interesting now? He even dared to kidnap you. He's got guts. What's so interesting about a pet that's obedient and submissive?" Min Haochu narrowed his peach blossom eyes slightly. His gaze swept over Ningxu's face inch by inch. Ningxu's face involuntarily twitched when his gaze swept over her. Her body trembled uncontrollably. Ningxu took a deep breath and held Fu Haoshuan's neck tightly. Because Fu Haoshuan was much taller than her, the kidnapped Fu Haoshuan's body bent into a ridiculous arc. Min Haochu and Mu Yeyao could not help but laugh. Fu Haoshuan saw the smile on his best friend's face and was so angry that his face turned green. He kept thinking about how to torture this bold pet. Ningxu was speechless. Damn, she was ignored to this extent. Ning Shu shouted to Yi Xiaodong. Xiaodong, don't be afraid. Come to sister. Yi Xiaodong lay motionless on the ground and looked at Ning Shu with tears in his eyes. Ning Shu comforted him softly. Xiaodong, don't be afraid. Come to sister. Mu Yeyao moved his neck and cracked his fingers. You don't put me in your eyes. I let you escape last time. Do you think I'll let you escape this time? Mu Yeyao stepped on the back of Yi Xiaodong's hand and crushed it hard. I heard that the fool is good at drawing. How can he draw if his hands are ruined? It hurts, it hurts. Yi Xiaodong cried and wailed. Ning Shu did not hesitate to cut Fu Haoshuan's face with a branch. The surrounding people immediately quieted down. They did not even dare to breathe loudly. Fu Haoshuan was stunned. He could not help but touch his face. What he touched was warm blood. Not only was Fu Haoshuan stunned, but Mu Yeyao and Min Haochu were also stunned. Ning Shu said viciously, I heard that Fu Haoshuan's face is very good. How can he show off in the city if his face is ruined? Yi Xiaodong, you're dead. I'll make you beg for death. Fu Haoshuan's voice sounded like it came from hell. It was eerie and terrifying. Ning Shu sneered. My life is cheap. Even if I die, I'll drag you down with me. It's my gain. Chapter 965. If you dare to lay a finger on my brother again, I'll stab you in your eyes the next time. Faces can be fixed by plastic surgery, but I don't know if you're rich enough to fix your eyes. Ning Shu's expression was unusually cold. She stuck out her tongue and licked the blood on Haoshuan's face. It tastes good, Ning Shu said with a smile. Let's see who's more perverted. Min Haochu couldn't help but narrow his eyes and frown slightly. Mu Yeyao raised his foot and didn't continue to crush Yi Xiaodong's hand. Min Haochu looked at Ning Shu carefully. Do you know what the consequences are if you do anything else? You really can't bear it. At worst, I'll die. What's there to be afraid of? Ning Shu looked calm. Die, you're too naive. Min Haochu smiled like a fox. After what happened, do you think you can die quickly? Ning Shu didn't care. Even if I don't die a good death, it's good to drag you to hell with me, Ning Shu said as he moved the branch on Quan Haoshuan's face. You've irritated me so much that I've turned evil. Anyway, no one will have a good life. Min Haochu's pupils shrank. He mocked and despised. How naive. There were more and more people on the field. Quan Haoshuan struggled hard to be kidnapped by so many people, but this woman was too strong. No matter how hard he struggled, he couldn't. Be quiet. Ning Shu kicked Min Haochu's leg. Min Haochu immediately felt that his leg bones were about to crack. Ning Shu said gently to Yi Xiaodong, Xiaodong, come to sister. Don't be afraid. Sister is here. Yi Xiaodong's face was covered in tears and snot. Under Ning Shu's comfort, he got up from the ground. Ning Shu walked over. Mu Yeyao wanted to kick Yi Xiaodong to death, but Min Haochu stopped him. Yi Xiaodong walked to Ning Shu's side and immediately pulled Ning Shu's clothes tightly. Your brother is already there. Shouldn't you release Fang Haoshuan? Min Haochu asked. Ning Shu smiled and said, that won't do. If I let him go, we won't be able to live. Don't tell me you think you'll have a good ending after doing something like this? Mu Yeyao sneered. Let him go, let's exchange a few blows. Are you crazy? Who wants to exchange a few moves with you? Ning Shu said bluntly. Xiaodong, let go of Master O. The principal came over with the school guards. When he saw the blood on Haoshuan's face, his expression immediately changed. If you have anything to say, let go of me. The principal's voice changed. The young master of the O family had an accident in the school. He couldn't escape the responsibility. Moreover, this Yi Xiaodong was brought to the school by him. The O family had shares in the school, so the board of directors would definitely dismiss him from his position as the principal. As the principal, he was simply a sandwich biscuit. The principal was burning with anxiety. He regretted letting the siblings study in the school. Xiaodong, don't make things worse. Quickly let go of Master O. Principal Ning Shu shouted. Ning Shu said indifferently, Principal, if I let go, I won't be able to live either. No matter what, let go of Master O first. The principal anxiously shouted at Ning Shu. His eyebrows were filled with anxiety and regret. Yi Xiaodong, let go of Haoshuan. I promise you'll be fine, Min Haochu and Ning Shu said. Ning Shu wrapped his arm around Hao Xuan's neck and pulled him towards the school gate. Yi Xiaodong pulled Ning Shu's clothes and slowly retreated with Ning Shu. Hao Xuan sneered. He was kidnapped by a woman. Moreover, it was a person they despised and insulted. They treated her as a plaything. Fu Haoxuan felt that his face was numb from the pain. He felt very hot. The wound was probably inflamed. Such a dirty branch had scratched his face, and the person holding the branch was someone who picked up things from the garbage dump every day. How dirty was her hand? Being close to the body behind him, Haoxuan felt as if he was surrounded by feces. It was so disgusting. The first thing he did was to take a shower and disinfect it. Ning Shu planned to leave with Yi Xiaodong first. Staying here would only lead to death. Before they went far, they heard the siren. Ning Shu's expression changed. He tightened his arm and tightly wrapped it around Haoxuan's neck. He held the branch against Haoxuan's neck. Haoxuan's neck was suddenly tightened by Ning Shu. He coughed twice with some difficulty breathing. The police car stopped at the school gate. The police got out of the car and surrounded them. Many snipers were looking for a suitable position to kill Ning Shu. See, I told you. The consequences are not something you can bear. Min Haochu shrugged his shoulders and spread his hands. There are the most elite snipers here. Every one of them is a sharpshooter. Sister, I'm scared. Yi Xiaodong cried in horror and tightly tugged at Ning Shu's clothes. Ning Shu comforted Yi Xiaodong. Xiaodong, don't be afraid. Sister will always be by your side. Ning Shu looked around and saw many black muzzles pointing at him. He felt as if the whole world was his enemy. No wonder. No wonder Yi Xiaodong could only be bullied and did not dare to resist. The people who studied in this school gathered almost all the resources of the whole country and society. If a rich man lost a dog, it would be a big deal. No matter how many ordinary people died, it was nothing. That was the reality. Damn it. Ning Shu stared at the guns pointed at him. This mission was probably going to fail. Before he was killed, he had to drag someone down with him. He had to drag Haoxuan down with him. He was going to die anyway. Ning Shu held the branch tightly and poked Haoxuan's neck. Haoxuan groaned in pain. How dare you? Haoxuan was furious. Min Haochu stared at Ning Shu. He felt that there was something wrong with this woman. She seemed to be going all out. Let him go, Min Haochu said to Ning Shu. Otherwise you won't be able to bear the consequences. Are you fucking retarded? Do you think I'll let you go just because you say so? If you let me go, I'll die. Even if I die, I'll drag this person down with me. I can't live anyway. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. Min Haochu and Mu Yayao looked at each other. They both felt that this woman was crazy. It was hard to imagine that Yi Xiaodong would dare to do such a thing. If it was in the past, he would have been trembling in fear. No one can insult the O family's reputation. The O family's reputation is not something that can be tarnished by people like you. A middle-aged man walked over with a few security guards beside him. Dad. Seeing this middle-aged man, Haoxuan was stunned. Useless thing. You are being threatened by such a lowly person. Haoxuan's father's face was unusually cold. He turned to the principal and said indifferently, Principal Lee, the management of the school is a bit loose. How can such a school have such a student? Chapter 966. Headmaster Lee, who was being reprimanded, kept bowing and apologizing. He was determined not to let the siblings stay in the school. Find an opportunity to shoot them dead. Fu Haoxuan's father ordered coldly. Don't hurt my son. This was the confidence of the rich. Going against the rich was like hitting a rock with an egg. Although they had no regard for life and death, they had to seize the opportunity to live. Ning Shu hugged Fu Haoxuan's neck tightly. There were countless guns pointed at her head. They would blow her head off if they had the chance. Ning Shu made up her mind. At worst, she would fail the mission. Ning Shu pushed the branch deeper into Fu Haoxuan's neck. Blood flowed down the branch and dripped onto the ground. Hiss. Fu Haoxuan's face twitched in pain. Most importantly, the sharp object pierced into the skin of his neck. Fu Haoxuan was most afraid of bleeding to death from the main artery. Fu Haoxuan felt a chill and a strong murderous aura from the person behind him. Fu Haoxuan was a little scared. He was afraid of those who didn't care about their lives. Let go of me first. I promise you that I won't let these people hurt you, Fu Haoshuan said calmly. Fuck, do you think I'm a fool? Ningxu sneered. Anyway, there's no place for me in this world. Even if I leave this school, I won't be able to live. I might as well drag you down with me. Fu Haoshuan pursed his lips tightly. The blood on his face had dried, making him look very miserable. The shoes that she had asked Ningxu to wipe were now very dirty. Fu Haoshuan's face trembled. He was the young master of the O family. It wasn't worth it to die with this lowly trash girl. Regardless of whether Fu Haoshuan admitted it or not, he was born into a good family. He didn't have to worry about food and clothing for the rest of his life. He could live a life of being above others. He could live a fearless and carefree life. Fu Haoshuan couldn't bear to die. Then what do you want? Fu Haoshuan's father said with an ashen face. His gaze was focused on Ningxu's hand that was holding the wooden stick. The hand holding the branch didn't even tremble. No matter how courageous a person was, it was impossible for them to not be nervous in such a situation. Moreover, there were so many guns pointing at them. Did this mean that the other party was not nervous at all? Was he a professional killer? I just want to live. Will you let me and my brother live? Ningxu stared at Beat Haoshuan's father. He was a rather dignified and cold person. Compared to him, O Haoshuan was as green as a peach that had just borne fruit. There was no comparison. Just standing close to him made people feel a little breathless. I can let you live, Su Haoshuan's father said. Ningxu said directly, I don't believe it. I don't believe a word of what capitalists say, Ningxu said calmly. He wasn't happy about the promise of beating up Haoshuan's father at all. There were more and more cars at the school gate. Even Min Haochu and Mu Yayao's families were alarmed. When Haoshuan's mother came over and saw that her son was covered in blood, she almost fainted. What's going on? Min Haochu's father asked. Min Haochu didn't expect that a cornered dog would jump over a wall and a cornered rabbit would bite. In the face of his father's interrogation, Min Haochu honestly said that he and his two best friends just felt that it was interesting to bully a person who was like a mouse. To put it bluntly, it was school violence. Min Haochu's father looked at Ningxu, who was indifferent to life and death. When he heard his son say that he wanted this girl to eat shit and drink urine, he couldn't help but pat Min Haochu's head. What did I tell you? Don't underestimate anyone. Go home and copy the family rules 100 times. Min Haochu's father said with narrowed eyes. He also noticed this girl. She was too calm. They were all people who dominated the business world and had experienced too much scheming. It was inevitable that they would overthink and even imagine what Ningxu's identity was. Min Haochu pursed his lips. They bullied people based on who they were dealing with. Yi Xiaotong didn't have any family background. She was also timid and weak. When she saw them, she was like a mouse that saw a cat. She couldn't stop trembling. Who would have thought that she would do such a bold thing? I think your life in school is too easy. That's why you caused such trouble for me. Mu Yayao's father, who was wearing a military uniform and glossy black military boots, kicked Mu Yayao. Mu Yayao didn't dare to dodge and took the kick. Drag him back. Don't study anymore. Train well in the army. Mu Yayao's father asked his men to drag Mu Yayao away. Mu Yayao was stuffed into the jeep listlessly. Mu Yayao's father Ningxu said, Let him go. Do you know that you are committing a crime now? Do you think you can vent your anger like this? Mu Yayao's father pointed at Ningxu. Don't be too naive. I'm not naive. I know what the law is about. Ningxu said indifferently. Only equal people talk about the law. In such a situation where the strong and the weak are obvious, the law is to restrain the weak. It's a tool for the strong. So I know that I can't live, but to be able to drag someone who bullied me to death with me, I've earned it. Quan Haoshuan is much nobler than me. Ningxu said with a smile as he looked at the green epaulette on Mu Yayao's father's shoulder. I heard that you are a general. It's an honor to meet you. You protect the country, but your son bullies the weak. No matter what, I'm still considered a citizen of this country, Ningxu said. Mu Yayao's father said indifferently. My Mu family's glory was fought for by my Mu family. I don't deny that you are weak, but it's reasonable that you are not weak. Moreover, it's a fact that you committed a crime. Ning Shu looked indifferent as if he didn't care about life and death. So I don't plan to live. Even if I die, I want your son to bear the political stain of forcing someone to death. He also caused the death of the young master of the O family, Quan Haoshuan. Your Mu family should have political enemies, right? Your son's political career in this life might not be so smooth. Mu Yao's father's face was cold as he looked at the surrounding reporters. His hand touched the gun at his waist, but he paused for a moment and didn't draw it. Ning Shu naturally saw Mu Yao's father's actions and said with a smile, "Even if you kill me, I still have a chance to insert a branch into Quan Haoshuan's neck. As for you?" Ning Shu turned to look at Min Haochu and his son. Facing Ning Shu's teasing gaze, Min Haochu's heart couldn't help but skip a beat. He narrowed his peach blossom eyes slightly and his eyelids trembled. He felt that they were like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. This woman really didn't want to live anymore. Ning Shu said with a smile. Actually, the food produced by the Min Group, such as instant noodles and potato chips, are actually. Ning Shu smiled even more brilliantly at Min Haochu's acts, making Min Haochu's heart feel even more uneasy. It was undeniable that he felt a trace of fear towards this madwoman. Chapter 967. It was a joke that they would be afraid of a trashy girl like Yi Xiaodong. This was something that the three of them didn't expect at all. The food produced by the Min Group is all fried with corpses, Ning Shu said with a smile. The Min Group's food industry occupied 60% of the country's food industry. It was a monopoly. Anything that has oil in it is corpse oil. Ning Shu spouted nonsense. Perhaps it wasn't, but who would believe it? When this rumor spread, people would think of corpse oil when they saw the Min Group's food. What nonsense are you talking about? Min Haochu's face turned pale. Ning Shu roared. You have to be responsible for what you say. Ning Shu nodded. I'll be responsible. I heard you tell Mu Yao and O Haoshuan that the oil in your food is from freshly dead corpses. It's much cheaper than vegetable oil and lard. You said that this would save costs. You even told your two friends not to buy your food. Min Haochu's face was ashen, and his body couldn't help but tremble. This rumor was very damaging. Even if they took all the food in the company to be tested and found to be up to standard, would ordinary people believe it? They wouldn't believe it. Even if they repeatedly said that they didn't have corpse oil, they still wouldn't buy it. Min Haochu looked at his father. His father's face was also a little pale, but he was still calm. However, Min Haochu saw that his father's hands were trembling slightly. This meant that his father's heart was not calm. Yi Xiaotong, what you said concerns the livelihood of so many employees in the Min Group. You're talking nonsense. You're cutting off their livelihood, Min Haochu said with a trembling voice. Hey, could it be that only the Min family can afford to support people? If there's a fall, there's a rise. These employees can go to other food companies. Whoever leaves can't survive. Ning Shu smiled. I'm not educated. Don't lie to me. If your company goes down, the food industry will bloom even more. If the monopoly industry collapsed, other small companies would have a chance to develop. Monopoly was abnormal, especially when food was not a technological product. Min Haochu's father took a deep look at Ning Shu before pulling Min Haochu's collar and dragging him away. I've said it before. Don't underestimate anyone. No matter how small a nail is, it can still make someone bleed. Once they got into the car, Min Haochu's father roared at Min Haochu and slapped him across the face. Min Haochu's head was dizzy from the beating, and he almost fainted. His face was swollen at a speed visible to the naked eye. You're just a person who likes to play tricks, Min Haochu's father said coldly. The Min family will fall in your hands sooner or later. Have you thought about how many people will want to take advantage of us if this rumor spreads? Min Haochu's father said coldly. You juniors are living too comfortably. You've forgotten who you are. Dad, what should we do now? Min Haochu pursed his lips tightly. He didn't regret bullying Yi Xiaotong, but he regretted not getting rid of her earlier. With their family backgrounds, they could completely suppress the news of the two deaths. Who knew that Yi Xiaotong would have the courage to resist now? What should we do? Call an emergency meeting. Min Haochu's father rubbed his forehead and said tiredly. His expression was not optimistic. After the father and son of the Min family left, the atmosphere was extremely solemn. Ningxu had already given up on this mission, so he didn't have any worries. It was impossible for her to leave the campus alive today. These people wouldn't let her go. She really didn't have any strength in her hands. It was like a mayfly trying to shake a tree or a mantis trying to stop a car. However, she had implicated Yi Xiaodong. If she didn't counterattack for Yi Xiaodong, someone else might counterattack for Yi Xiaodong. Let go of my son. I can give you whatever you want. Fu Haoshuan's mother cried and shouted at Ningxu. She cried uncontrollably and looked extremely pitiful. Ningxu's expression was cold. He directly ignored Fu Haoshuan's mother's words. Fu Haoshuan's face was pale. He seemed to have realized something. He felt as if he was stuck to a corpse and was extremely cold. Fu Haoshuan felt dizzy and his vision turned black. He didn't know if it was because of excessive blood loss or because of fear. His heart felt like it was about to jump out of his chest. In short, Fu Haoshuan felt very bad. There were so many people around, but at this moment, it was quiet. Everyone held their breaths. There was an aura of death slowly surging. Mu Yayao's father narrowed his eyes. Rescuing the hostage is more important. As soon as Mu Yayao finished speaking, a gunshot rang out. With a bang, hot blood splashed onto Ningxu's face. With a plop, Yi Xiaodong, who was beside her, fell to the ground. Ningxu didn't hesitate. He used all his strength and directly pierced the branch through Fu Haoshuan's neck. Then, with another bang, Ningxu felt a bullet explode in his head. It was as if it had exploded in his soul. His soul felt as if it was being torn apart. It was as if his soul was going to be completely destroyed. The power of obliteration. Just as Ningxu thought that he was going to be obliterated, a force protected Ningxu's soul. Ningxu returned to the system space. Ningxu sat on the ground and covered his head. He felt as if his soul was being torn apart inch by inch. It made Ningxu extremely painful. After 2 gunshots, the 3 men fell to the ground. Everyone was stunned. The sniper who fired the shot wanted to kill Yi Xiaodong, so that Yi Xiaodong would be distracted and kill her. However, he didn't expect to kill Fu Haoshuan before he died. Haoshuan. Fu Haoshuan's mother saw her son's eyes widen. His neck was pierced by a branch and blood splattered. His body twitched twice and stopped moving. Fu Haoshuan's mother screamed twice and fainted. Mu Yayao's father was stunned. He had never seen such a person. He really wanted to drag someone down with him, even after he died. Other than the dead Fu Haoshuan, the living Mu Yayao and Min Haochu were surrounded by public opinion. Colonel Mu, my son is still in the hands of the criminals. Why did you give the order to shoot? Fu Haoshuan's father questioned Mu Yayao's father with a livid face. I didn't expect this to happen, Mu Yayao's father said helplessly. What we need to do now is to erase the impact of this matter. This matter is a blow to all 3 of our families. But my son is dead. The children of the Mu family and the Min family are still alive, Fu Haoshuan's father said in a deep voice. His eyes were watery. I must have an explanation for this matter. My son is dead. He was killed by the criminals. I will give you an explanation for this matter. I didn't give the order to shoot. I said that I would try my best to save the hostages. I don't know which sniper accidentally fired his pistol, so he had no choice but to shoot again. I will find that sniper and give you an explanation, Mu Yayao's father said. Chapter 968. Beat Haoshuan's father heard that Colonel Mu had only found a sniper to brush him off. He was simply shirking responsibility. His face darkened as he watched his son being carried onto a stretcher and covered with a white cloth. Beat Haoshuan's father wiped his face deeply. The murderer was already dead. Now Beat Haoshuan's father had no way to vent his anger. Was he going to whip the corpse? Colonel Mu got into the off-road vehicle and rubbed his forehead. Bring Mu Yayao back to the old house. Colonel Mu went back and beat his son half to death. He immediately sent Mu Yayao to the army to prevent him from being attacked by public opinion. However, this matter was too big. The heir of the O family was dead. This kind of news could not be suppressed. It was the age of the internet. The slightest news would cause an uproar on the internet. Min Haochu was punished 100 times. His father walked into the room with a computer and placed it in front of Min Haochu. Look! Min Haochu's heart trembled. When he saw the scene of a stretcher being carried on the computer, Min Haochu had a bad feeling in his heart. He asked in a trembling voice, "Who is dead?" "The O family's kid is dead. You should know who killed him, right?" Min Haochu's father said. "Now the internet is going crazy. Our company's products contain corpse oil. It can't be suppressed. The immediate effect is that the number of sellers who receive goods from the company has decreased by 10%, Min Haochu's father said. If you cause trouble, you have to have the ability to deal with it. The most terrifying thing is not a vicious person. The most terrifying thing is a person who is not afraid of death. Perhaps someone who is not afraid of death will tie a bomb to the company, and we will be finished." Min Haochu's father sneered. "It seems that your life has been too comfortable. You people have no scruples. This time, the company will definitely be hit hard." "Dad." Min Haochu's face was pale. His best friend was right in front of him. This impact was very big. If he was the one who was kidnapped, he would be dead. The aristocratic incident fermented. Many videos were circulating on the internet. The rich controlled 80% of the wealth and resources of society, while ordinary people were the bottom of the entire society. There was no lack of people who hated the rich. This matter was like a tsunami on the internet, especially when people sympathized with the weak. They were a pair of orphans, and the younger brother was a fool. This made people sympathize with them even more. Everyone joined forces to suppress the high and mighty people. That was very refreshing. Not only was it to fight for justice, but it was also to vent the anger in their hearts. Because of this, Colonel Mu was reprimanded by his superiors. They said that Mu Yeyao lacked the integrity and sense of responsibility of a soldier. With such a casual sentence, Mu Yeyao's political path would not be so easy. There might be a gap in the Mu family from Mu Yeyao's generation. The Mu clan could only give up on Mu Yeyao and turn to nurture others. They could not hang themselves on Mu Yeyao. The Mu family had lost a child with a bright future, and the O family had lost a child. The Min family's food sales had dropped by 40%. 40% was a lot of money. Even if the Min family went to an authoritative organization to test their food, even if the food was qualified and the certificate was placed in front of the public would not believe it. Sometimes people believed in what they thought, and 3 people would make a tiger out of it. Ning Shu returned to the system space for a long time before he recovered. The feeling of his soul being torn apart was too painful. It was really unbearable. Sai failed. 2333 sighed. Ning Shu shrugged. Failed. Sai, your attitude was too strong. If you showed weakness, there might be a way. 2333 said. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. What's the use of showing weakness? I will definitely be pushed into a bucket of feces and eat a stomach full of shit. Why don't you do the mission? Those people don't have any compassion for the fairer sex at all. If they did, the client wouldn't have encountered such a thing. Ning Shu shrugged. They did not treat me as an equal. If a rat kept squawking at you, would you just let it go? Ning Shu said helplessly. Moreover, there were so many people. She could not win at all. Resistance would only lead to more cruel suppression. 2 people died, and only 1 person was dragged down with them. It was not worth it. What do we do now? Start over? Ning Shu asked. Let's look at your overall data first. If it is qualified, spend some merit points or faith to pass. Number, 2333. Name, Ning Shu, Advanced Mission Taker. Age, 27. Endurance, 80 Reflexes, 60 Dexterity, 70 Intelligence, 60 Force, 90 Charm, 10 Aptitude, 70 Spirit, 80 Overall Average Score, 65 TSK, 65 points, barely passing. 2333 was a little speechless. Your charm is too low. Every attribute has a corresponding characteristic. Charm is not only pleasing to the eyes, it is also a kind of personality charm. It can make people feel close to you and let down their guard. 2333 said. All attributes must be added together. These attributes are like a wooden bucket. The existence of a shortcoming determines how much water it can hold. No matter how high it is useless. I know. Next time, he would squeeze some attribute points into charm. This score is based on my performance in this mission? Ningxu asked. Yes, this score is based on your performance in this mission. 2333 said. Every special mission is a comprehensive assessment of a mission taker's potential. It uses the most direct data to reflect the potential of the mission taker. Data can represent a person's potential. Sometimes there are more variables. Ningxu did not take this data to heart. Just like a person's score on a test paper, it does not represent a person's life. Do you want to start the special mission again, or do you want to spend some faith? 2333 asked. Ningxu's face was tangled. I just want to ask how difficult the last mission was. Why do I feel like it was so damn difficult? It was like standing on the top of the Forbidden City, shouting, "Come and kill me, kill me, kill me." 2333 was silent for a moment. Level SSS 3S. Ningxu. Pft. It is said that this is a random mission. I did not expect you to get this level of mission. 2333 said with a helpless tone. It is probably because your luck is too low. But I always add points to my luck. Ningxu felt wronged. Did she feed all her attribute points to dogs? But your luck is not at the level of being lucky. 2333 advised Ningxu. Some people are just so unlucky. Whatever they do, they are always angry at themselves. Just add more attribute points in the future. Chapter 969. Are you saying that I have a bad character? Ningxu said expressionlessly. Then why do I always encounter so many things that make people despair? If people can live well, and have a little bit of hope, they won't give up their soul power to counterattack. Do you think people are willing to counterattack? Not only do they have to occupy the body, but they also have to collect the soul power. If the mission is too difficult and drags on for too long, they will be old when they come back. Unless you have no choice, you will be willing to counterattack. And it's not like you can just give up your soul to counterattack. 2333 chattered. Ningxu's head was full of people. People. Are you going to start the special mission again? 2333 didn't want to discuss with Ningxu about his character, so he changed the topic. Ningxu was in a dilemma. What if he got a harder mission again? It would be a bit embarrassing if he didn't pass the second test. However, if he had to use faith power, Ningxu's heart would ache. Not only that, but his whole body was aching. If I use faith power, how much will it cost? Ningxu asked 2333. 5,000 faith power. 2333 said. It shouldn't be so little, but your overall score is good. It shouldn't be so little. Was 5,000 too little? Ningxu took a deep breath, and thought that maybe he would get a simpler mission this time. Then he wouldn't have to waste 5,000 faith power. She had done so many missions and only had a few thousand faith power. Once she used up the 5,000 faith power, she would basically lose it. After working so hard for so long, she had to go back to square one. She couldn't accept it. If it was 5 million points, Ningxu would definitely be willing to give it up. There were points in every world as long as the mission was completed. However, points and merits were too hard to come by. Ningxu couldn't help but scratch his head and asked 2333. What do you think I should choose? Don't ask me. I don't know. 2333 refused to answer directly. He was afraid that he would be blamed for everything in the future. Then what's the use of you? Ningxu squinted. Yes, I am trash. 2333 admitted that he was trash. Ningxu clicked his tongue twice. Use faith power. She now had a steady income of faith power but no merit. You sure? 2333 asked. I'm sure. Are you sure you want to use 5,000 faith to cancel out the special trial quest? 2333 asked. I am sure, Ningxu said weakly. Then I'll deduct 5,000 faith power. Fuck, can you stop talking? If you keep talking, I want to go back on my word. Ningxu wanted to cry, but no tears came out. I'm sure. Just do it. Don't remind me to do it. 2333. What a violent temper. From now on, you are a high-level quest taker. Congratulations. 2333 Ning Shu said. Ning Shu smiled. Same to you. Then I'll ask what the requirements are to become a high-level quest taker. From now on, I'm going to be a high-level quest taker, Ning Shu said with a smile. To become a high-level quest taker, you need 100 million points, 50,000 faith power, and 60,000 merit points. Once you meet the requirements, you can level up. When Ning Shu heard this, he was completely dumbfounded. He plopped down on the carpet and dug his ears. How much power of faith did you say? How many merit points? How many points? Cough, listen carefully. 100 million points, 50,000 faith power, and 40,000 merit points, 2333 said. Ning Shu smiled. I don't think it makes sense. Is it because I failed the special mission that the numbers doubled? Otherwise, why would it? Why would there be 50,000 faith power and 40,000 merit points? Ning Shu roared. Ning Shu's heart was filled with hee-hee, followed by countless grass mud horses. Everyone has the same numbers, 2333 said. Do you think it's so easy to become a high-level quest taker? Many quest takers have to do missions for countless years to become a high-level quest taker. Besides, it doesn't mean that you can become a high-level quest taker just because you meet the requirements. There's still 100 million points. Ning Shu lowered his head and counted with his fingers. 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100 million, 100 million, 100 million points, 100 million points, 20 million points, and 80 million points divided by 3 million points. Just for points alone, I'll have to do nearly 30 missions. The time for one mission is about 3 to 5 years. So just for points alone, I'll have to do missions for hundreds of years. Other than points, there's also faith power and merit points. Not every world can get merit points. 40,000 merit points. What the fuck? Ning Shu said that he didn't know how to calculate anymore. The numbers he calculated made him feel depressed. Moreover, not every mission would be successful. There was a chance of failure. If he failed, he would lose the amulet. Buying the amulet would cost him merit points. Ning Shu squatted in the corner. He couldn't face such a cruel reality. Don't worry about the numbers. The most important thing for us now is to build the world. As long as there's a world, you won't be easily erased. Even if you do something against the rules, at most you'll be punished. It won't threaten your life. 2333 Ning Shu said calmly. Ning Shu nodded. I know. However, Ning Shu was still in a bad mood. He was going to go to the restaurant in the virtual space to have a meal. Then he would go to the trading hall to see if there was any news about the world's origin. Ning Shu had not encountered the world's origin in so many worlds. He didn't know when he would encounter the world's origin. However, if he knew about the world's origin, he probably wouldn't have anything precious to exchange for it. Ning Shu first went to the restaurant and ordered a table of dishes to eat slowly. After eating, he went to the trading hall. However, there were also many good things in the trading hall. Ning Shu also bought some small things and some more obscure books. There was still no news about the world's origin in the trading hall. Ning Shu felt that such a precious thing was unlikely to exist. Many people didn't even know what the world's origin was. Ning Shu also didn't know what it was. He only knew a name. He had never seen it before. Ning Shu, who had become a high-level mission enforcer, was going to the black market to take a look. Now she was qualified. The black market was a gray trading chain. Moreover, safety was not guaranteed. What made Ning Shu unhappy was that to enter the black market, she had to draw out a trace of the soul's origin as a record. It was also a guarantee. Chapter 970. Soul origin was more precious than soul power. When he heard that he was going to extract soul origin, Ning Shu turned around and left. The soul was the foundation, and soul origin was the root of the soul. Ning Shu didn't want to lose his soul origin. If he lost it now, what would he use to make up for it in the future? Ning Shu was still afraid that others might take his soul origin and harm him. If soul power could be devoured, then soul origin could be devoured as well. He didn't know who built this black market. It was standing in the virtual space without being destroyed. Ning Shu didn't find any information about world origin in the trading hall, so he planned to go to some shops to ask. Ning Shu entered the shop and casually bought some small items and props. She then asked the shop owner if there was any world origin. When the shop owner heard about world origin, he smiled and said, "Dear, we are a small business. We don't have world origin. Dear, you can go to the trading hall and ask. If not, you can go to the space above and ask." The shop owner Ning Shu said. "Thank you." Ning Shu smiled and left the shop. Ning Shu sighed and asked 2333, "Where do you think there will be world origin?" "I don't know. World origin exists in different ways. Maybe it's a tree, maybe it's a divine artifact, maybe it's a lake, maybe it's a rock. Not every world can give birth to an additional world origin. A plane will first develop the power of the origin it needs. Perhaps it will give birth to an additional world origin. Some planes will not give birth to a world origin as long as they satisfy their needs. Some planes will. So whether or not you can encounter such a thing depends entirely on luck. Your luck. You're lucky." Ning Shu was speechless. What a despairing truth. Ning Shu was too lazy to wander around the virtual space. If he had the time, he might as well go back and cultivate. Wait, Ning Shu suddenly thought of something. Now that she had become a high-level taskmaster, the missions would become more and more difficult. She had to find a way to make herself more calm and complete the missions. Previously, Ning Shu felt that the calm aura was useless. But as his soul grew stronger, the calm aura seemed to be useless. During the mission, there were times when Ning Shu could not control his emotions, and he would recite the clear heart mantra. Ning Shu turned around and returned to the shop. He wanted to see if there were any tools that could calm people down. Ning Shu checked the props, and the shop owner recommended one to Ning Shu. "This is a calming pill." Ning Shu. Why did it have such a name? The heart calming pill was a bead the size of a Buddhist prayer bead. It emitted a smell that calmed one's heart, like the smell of mint. "What's the deal?" Ning Shu asked. 50 merit points. The shop owner opened his hand. "It's too expensive." Why were they exchanging for everything with merit points? Could they exchange for points instead? What if I use points? Ning Shu asked. 10 million, the shop owner said. Ning Shu. What the hell? What a huge ratio. 500,000 to 1. Points were so worthless. Little girl, the better props are all exchanged with faith and merit points. Moreover, props exchanged with merit and faith will always belong to you. Even if you participate in special missions, tests, and trials, they will not be taken away. Things like points, which can be obtained easily, are of course worthless. Moreover, props exchanged with points can be taken back by the exchange system at any time. Ning Shu hammered his chest. He was really frustrated. It's too expensive. Give me a discount. Ning Shu bargained. The shop owner did not give Ning Shu a discount. He only gave Ning Shu a small gift. Ning Shu still made the deal. He needed this item. Ning Shu took the heart-calming pill. He immediately felt a cool aura flow into his soul, making him feel refreshed. 50 merit points was worth it. It was more useful than the calming aura. Ning Shu returned to the system space. With the heart-calming pill, he did not need the calming aura anymore. It was a waste. The exchange system store can take these items back. 2333 said. Ning Shu raised an eyebrow. She felt that 2333 was really considerate. It was so considerate that she felt a little creeped out. He answered every question. This was not 2333. One who is unaccountably solicitous is hiding evil intentions. Ning Shu opened the exchange system store and sold the calming aura. Of course, the price was not high. Don't even mention how much it was cheated. Let's start the mission. Let's see who the client is. Ning Shu said. Okay. 2333 replied. Let's do the system quest this time. So this was what he was waiting for. Ning Shu nodded. Then let's do the system quest. A woman slowly appeared in the system space. This woman was wearing a gorgeous palace dress. The dress was embroidered with a soaring phoenix. The phoenix was vivid and lifelike. The golden thread swayed with the dress, emitting a glow. It was as if the phoenix was about to fly. She was so elegant that people did not dare to look at her directly. Ningxu saw the palace dress. It was the empress. Finally, there was someone with a higher status. Ningxu straightened his back. Hello. This consort needs to counterattack. Fu Wanhui stood there elegantly. Her posture was graceful and elegant. Ningxu nodded. Sure. What is your wish? My wish is for concubine Xian to die. Make her disappear. Fu Wanhui's voice was a little gloomy. You are the empress. It should be easy for you to make a concubine disappear. Ningxu raised an eyebrow. He understood that this concubine Xian probably had a system that favored concubines. Fu Wanhui frowned. Her expression was bitter. Am I so useless as the empress? I can't even get a concubine. Instead, I asked the emperor to disperse the harem and be with her for the rest of his life. Ningxu was speechless. Actually, it was a touching love story. Then what about the emperor's concubines? Ningxu asked. Well, concubine Xian said that she was a kind person. She couldn't bear to see us alone in the harem, so she sent us back to our families. Fu Wanhui said bitterly. Ningxu was speechless. The emperor divorced his official wife along with all his concubines and sent them home? How could the minister agree? So my wish is for concubine Xian to disappear. Fu Wanhui's soul trembled as she spoke. Ningxu nodded. She had to accept this mission. 2333 had been nagging her for a long time. Counterattacking requires you to give up your soul power. Are you sure? Ningxu asked. I'm willing to give up 50% of my soul power. Fu Wanhui said. I'll accept this mission. Fu Wanhui gradually disappeared from the system space. Ningxu decided to accept the plot first. If something happened and he could not accept the plot, he would be confused. Fu Wanhui was of noble status. She was the empress of the Great Qian dynasty, the daughter of the Grand Preceptor. When she was of marriageable age, she married Zhao Su, who was still a prince. Chapter 971. Later, Zhao Su became the emperor, and Fu Wanhui naturally became the mother of the country. Fu Wanhui's life was to manage the harem for the emperor, not be jealous, not fight for favor, give birth to an heir, and suppress the concubines when she had nothing to do. However, there was a variable, and that was concubine Xian. This concubine Xian was not concubine Xian from the beginning, but a concubine in the cold palace. Moreover, she was a concubine who had never seen the emperor's face before. She was a beauty who had just entered the palace, and was given the title of Talented Lady. Talented Lady was only the 9th rank, the lowest beauty. She carelessly offended the concubine. The concubine directly sent her to the cold palace. A modern white-collar worker, Zhou Ningning, transmigrated into the body of this cold palace concubine. When she woke up, she was bound to the favored concubine system. The purpose of the favored concubine system was to let her gain the emperor's favor. Every once in a while, a mission would be issued, such as a chance encounter with the emperor. If the female lead completed it, there would be a reward. For example, a graceful waist. The favored concubine system issued a mission, and Zhou Ningning had to complete it. Zhou Ningning quite liked this game. She was a white-collar worker and did not love the emperor at all. She only treated the emperor as her boss. With the help of the system, Zhou Ningning walked to the peak of life. She was as beautiful as a fairy, and all the love in the harem was on her. The emperor was deeply in love with her, and because of this he divorced his wife and a large number of concubines. Some of the women who were sent home directly hanged themselves, losing their reputation and dragging down their families. The most awkward one was Fu Wanhui, the wife. It could be said that she was the first mother of the country to be divorced in the Qian dynasty. The history books did not know how to write about her. Ningxu, who had accepted the plot, said that lust blinded one's mind. People who met love were all brainless, and their brains were like decorations. Didn't the ministers object? They were probably all suppressed by Zhao Su. Ningxu said, "This is the favored concubine system you mentioned, right? Or is it like the star system, and wait until the system leaves the host to seize it? Yes, Ningxu, do your best. 2333 cheered Ningxu on. Ningxu rolled his eyes. 2333 was so attentive because it concerned his own interests. Enter the mission, Ningxu said. Okay. Ningxu's head spun for a moment as his soul fused with his body. Then he heard a woman's clear voice. Your Majesty the Empress, it's not that this concubine is talking about that little talented girl. She didn't even go through a proper bedtime ceremony before climbing onto the dragon bed. She doesn't even place your Majesty in her eyes. Ningxu opened her eyes and supported her forehead with her hand. Her hand was a little sore. Ningxu looked at the concubine who had spoken. It was Consort Zhuang. Consort Zhuang had a flamboyant personality. The colors of her clothes were very bright and moving. She was complaining to him now because it was the noble consort who had banished Zhou Kainu to the cold palace. Now that Zhou Ningning was serving her, the noble consort had gained another enemy. Now, she was rushing to complain to Ningxu. Ningxu moved his arm and said, "It doesn't matter if your Majesty likes it. The women in the imperial harem are all prepared for your Majesty. The formality is not important." Your Highness. Consort Zhuang twisted her handkerchief and said unhappily, "Everyone follows the rules. She's just a 9th-level talented girl. If she ignores the rules like this, what will the other sisters think?" She ran straight to the imperial garden and talked to your Majesty. Then at night, she climbed onto your Majesty's dragon bed. If everyone did this, wouldn't the imperial harem be a mess? Your Majesty the Empress, you mustn't indulge her bad habits. Consort Zhuang's face was filled with disgust. Ningxu picked up her teacup and drank some water. She had entered a little late. If she had entered earlier, she would have directly dealt with Zhou Kainu in the cold palace and killed her in the cradle. But now, Zhao Su and Zhou Ningning had a substantial relationship. Zhao Su had already noticed Zhou Ningning. In any case, Zhou Ningning was a walking aphrodisiac. Once touched, it was impossible to stop. Your Highness. Consort Zhuang saw that Ningxu was lost in thought and couldn't help but shout, "Your Highness, you are the master of the imperial harem. You should set the rules." "All right, I'm thirsty from talking. Go back and make some tea to cool down." Ningxu put down her teacup and said calmly, "Zhou Kainu is already attending to your Majesty." "But your Highness, her actions are breaking the rules." Consort Zhuang was dissatisfied. "She's trying to seduce your Majesty." Ningxu sneered. "The rules are up to your Majesty. What do you want? Do you want this consort to beat Zhou Kainu?" "Your Highness, this consort doesn't mean that. This consort just doesn't like how she looks down on you and all the sisters in the imperial harem." Consort Zhuang twisted her handkerchief. "All right, let's leave this matter at that. You should go back. Your Majesty can't bear to see the imperial harem not harmonious." Ningxu waved her hand. "Your Majesty will feel uncomfortable if you target Zhou Kainu like this." Consort Zhuang's expression changed. She stood up and bowed to Ningxu. This consort didn't deliberately target Zhou Kainu. This consort is just stating the facts. Zhou Kainu really doesn't know the rules. Entering the palace means entering the cold palace. If she says that to your Majesty, she won't have the opportunity to learn etiquette in the cold palace. When the time comes, your Majesty will ask her how she entered the cold palace. Ningxu raised her eyebrows and looked at Consort Zhuang. Zhou Kainu entered the cold palace because of Consort Zhuang. Before, Zhao Su had never seen Zhou Kainu. He didn't care about a talented girl. But now, the situation was different. He was interested in new women. If Consort Zhuang still targeted Zhou Kainu, she would definitely be punished. Consort Zhuang was so patient. If his grandfather was a general, he wouldn't be able to survive in the imperial harem. Consort Zhuang was fine, because Zhao Su was protecting her. Hearing Ningxu's words, Consort Zhuang bowed. "I understand. I'll be taking my leave now." After Consort Zhuang left, Ningxu stretched his neck. His hair was tied up in a high bun, and with all the hair accessories, it was really heavy. "Qiuling, you can serve breakfast now." Ningxu's stomach was empty. A large group of concubines had just come to greet him. and consort Zhuang had stayed behind to complain. He was starving. Qiuling asked a maid to bring in breakfast right away. The Empress's breakfast was quite sumptuous, and it filled the entire table. Although Ningxu ate gracefully, he kept stuffing food into his stomach. A maid walked in. Ningxu bowed and said, "Your Majesty, Zhou Kainu is still in Xingla Palace. She hasn't come out yet." Xingla Palace was where the emperor slept, which meant that Zhou Ningning had been in his bedchamber the entire time. Ningxu didn't say anything, so Qiuling dismissed the maid. "Your Majesty, Zhou Kainu hasn't come to greet you," Qiuling said to Ningxu. "According to the rules, all the concubines who are in the bedchamber have to come to greet you." Ningxu took a bite of a sesame roll and said indifferently, "Maybe Zhou Kainu doesn't have suitable clothes to greet me. Qiuling, have the clothing department make a dress for Zhou Kainu and send it to Xingla Palace. You'll go there yourself." "Yes." Qiuling bowed and left to carry out her task. Chapter 972. In Xingla Palace, Zhou Ningning and Zhou Kainv were lying on the large dragon bed. Their eyes were wide open as they looked at the complicated patterns on the top of the bed. Zhou Ningning let out a sigh of relief. She had finally completed the task of serving the emperor in bed. Not only did she complete the task of serving him in bed, she also had to sleep on the dragon bed for the night. Zhou Ningning still had basic knowledge. Imperial concubines had to be carried back after serving him in bed. After fighting with the emperor's boss for half the night, Zhou Ningning pretended that she was exhausted. She didn't need to pretend to be tired. Zhou Ningning buried herself in Zhao Su's neck and fell asleep. The emperor was probably satisfied with her serving him in bed. He actually allowed her to sleep on the dragon bed. Zhou Kainv wanted to get up, but she was completely naked. She could only lie on the bed. Congratulations on completing the task of serving him in bed. Reward, orchid breath. The system's voice sounded in Zhou Ningning's mind. Zhou Kainv was happy. She had obtained another skill. Zhou Kainv put her hand in front of her mouth and breathed in. The breath that came out of her mouth smelled very good. It wasn't strong, but it was very elegant. There was a faint fragrance, like orchid in a secluded valley. Previously, she had obtained the skin of congealed fat, which made her instantly pale several shades. Her skin was flawless, making the emperor love her body so much that he couldn't bear to part with it. Now she had obtained orchid breath. Suddenly, she heard the door creak open. Zhou Kainv immediately closed her eyes. She felt someone walk to her bedside. Still pretending to be asleep? Your eyes are rolling around non-stop. A low and magnetic voice sounded. Zhou Kainv slowly opened her eyes. She saw Zhao Su, who had just left court. He was wearing a dragon robe and a crown. Zhao Su's face was like jade. He had an extraordinary aura. There weren't many ugly people in the imperial family. When Zhou Kainv saw Zhao Su, she sighed in her heart. This emperor's boss was countless times better than those big-bellied bosses in the company. She wouldn't lose out even if she slept with him. You're stunned. Zhao Su raised his handsome eyebrows and looked at the woman on the bed through the beaded curtain. Who gave you the courage to look directly at my face? Your Majesty. Zhou Kainv quickly sat up. The blanket in front of her chest slid down, revealing her mottled breasts. Her plump breasts bounced twice. Her snow-white skin had green and red marks that had been ravaged. Zhao Su's gaze deepened. Sensing Zhao Su's burning gaze, Zhou Kainv was startled and hurriedly pulled the blanket to cover her chest. Zhao Su sat by the bed and said in a teasing tone, "Didn't we just see each other naked last night?" Your Majesty. Zhou Kainv's hair slid down her neck, revealing her beautiful swan-like neck. It was slender and white like jade, contrasting with her ink-black hair and snow-white skin. Zhao Su reached out and placed his hand on Zhou Kainv's shoulder. His thumb moved slightly, rubbing against Zhou Kainv's smooth skin. Zhou Kainv raised her head and looked pitifully at Zhao Su. Your Majesty, Chinchia's body hurts. Zhao Su smirked. Where does it hurt? Let me see. Your Majesty. Zhou Kainv clutched the blanket tightly to cover her front, revealing her collarbone and arms, which made her look even sexier. New task. Leave the cold palace and ask His Majesty to arrange a bedchamber for you. The beloved concubine system rang out in Zhou Kainv's head. Task reward. Autumn water eyes, tender eyes. Zhou Cave chuckled inwardly. She was the emperor's woman now, and of course she wouldn't go back to the cold palace. That would only embarrass his majesty. Therefore, she was sure to get the autumn water eyes skill. Zhou Cave pursed her lips shyly. Zhao Su narrowed his eyes and stared at Zhou Cave. The atmosphere between them was so intimate that the air seemed to be getting hotter. Your Majesty, Qiuling of the Long Autumn Palace is here. Her Majesty the Empress sent her to deliver something. Eunuch Li, who was standing beside Zhao Su, walked in and bowed. Yes, Her Majesty. Zhao Su withdrew his hand from Zhou Cave's shoulder. Let her in. Qiuling walked into the hall with a tray. On the tray were neatly arranged clothes and some jewelry. Qiuling lowered her head and curtsied. Greetings, Your Majesty and Zhou Cave. Her Majesty the Empress sent me to deliver some clothes to Zhou Cave. That's very thoughtful of Her Majesty. Zhao Su nodded, then turned to Zhou Cave. Come with me to the Long Autumn Palace later, and pay your respects to Her Majesty. Yes, I will. Zhou Cave nodded obediently. Both the Emperor and the Empress were her immediate superiors, and she would do her best to avoid offending them. Help her clean up, Zhao Su said to Qiuling, then left the bedchamber. Qiuling was only surprised for a moment before she replied. Yes, Your Majesty. Qiuling was a 4th-ranked official, while Zhou Cave was only a 9th-ranked talented lady. It would be a slap to the Empress's face if a maid served a 9th-ranked talented lady. However, it was the Emperor's order and Qiuling couldn't refuse. Qiuling carried the tray to the bed and put it on the head of the bed. Talented lady, please get out of bed. Only then did Zhou Cave lift the duvet and rise to her feet, revealing her mottled clothes. Qiuling glanced at her, then began to dress Zhou Cave. Task: get close to Her Majesty's official Qiuling and ask her about Her Majesty. Task reward: sounds of nature. The system issued another task. Sounds of nature? Did she have a beautiful voice when she sang or talked? Zhou Cave glanced at official Qiuling, who was bending over to tie her belt, and said, Sorry to trouble you, official Qiuling. You're welcome, official Qiuling. Since His Majesty has given me the order, I'll do my best, said official Qiuling politely. Zhou Cave could tell that she was only doing this because His Majesty had given her the order. No one was willing to serve her. Please have a seat, official Qiuling. I'll help you with your makeup, official Qiuling said to Zhou Cave after tying her belt. Zhou Cave sat down, feeling helpless. She was in such a low position that no one would pay her any attention, even if she tried to get close to Her Majesty. Official Qiuling, I've never met Her Majesty before and I'm a little nervous. I'd like to ask if there's anything Her Majesty doesn't like. I don't want to upset Her Majesty when I meet her for the first time. Zhou Cave said earnestly. There's no need to be nervous, official Qiuling. Her Majesty is a very easygoing person. As long as you follow the rules, said official Qiuling. The look on Zhou Cave's face didn't change, but she was grumbling inwardly. This Her Majesty wasn't the type to let herself be taken advantage of. She was using this as an excuse to remind His Majesty that the imperial harem was a big workplace, but it was even more dangerous than a workplace. The loser would lose everything, including their lives. You failed the task of getting information about Her Majesty. You have 3 chances to fail. If you exceed 3 chances, you'll be punished if you fail to complete the task seriously. The system's mechanical voice rang out. Chapter 973. It was the first time Zhou Cave had heard of a punishment, and she couldn't help but frown. What the hell was a punishment for failure? It seemed that she would have to work harder from now on. Zhou Cave asked the system in her head. What kind of punishment are there? You'll know when the time comes. The system didn't say anything else after that. Alright, Cave. Maid Autumn looked at Zhou Cave in the mirror. She was so beautiful even when she was frowning. Her skin was flawless and she didn't need any makeup at all. Her eyebrows were as green as jade and her lips were as red as cinnabar. She was as beautiful as the morning sun, even without any makeup. Zhou Cave had a bad feeling. Things were about to change in the imperial harem. Thank you, official Qiu, Zhou Cave said with a smile as she extended her slender fingers to touch her hair. Zhou Cave bowed to Maid Autumn, then left the palace to meet Ning Shu. Your Majesty, His Majesty and Zhou Caneve are coming together, Ningxu said after bowing. Ningxu nodded and took a sip of the jasmine tea. Seeing that Qiuling looked like she wanted to say something, he asked, "Is there anything else?" Your Majesty, Zhou Caneve is such a beauty. Her breath smells like orchids and her skin is as fair as snow. Zhou Caneve frowned. Why didn't I notice her before? Qiuling couldn't remember what Zhou Caneve looked like. She should have shocked everyone with her beauty. Help me with my makeup. His Majesty is coming. Ningxu didn't mind Qiuling's praise of Zhou Caneve. Yes, Your Majesty. Qiuling helped Ningxu with his makeup. She looked as elegant as she could. Ningxu felt like his neck was going to snap. Just make it simple. Your Highness, you have to bring out the grace and dignity of an empress. Bring out the majesty of an empress. Official Qiu said as she continued to put Ningxu's hair into a bun. Ningxu raised his hand to stop her. That's not necessary. Just make it simple. His Majesty is the Empress. I don't need to be so dignified in front of him. That was so heavy. Official Autumn could only help Ningxu freshen up again. Just behave properly, Ningxu said. She didn't lose the etiquette of an empress, but didn't appear too solemn. His Majesty has arrived. Outside the Long Autumn Palace, the sharp voice of a eunuch rang out. Ningxu stood up and walked to the door to greet Zhao Su. Zhao Su was wearing casual clothes, but they were also carefully tailored, which made Zhao Su look noble and handsome, full of the majesty of an emperor. Zhou Caneve, who was sitting next to Zhao Su, was just as Qiuling had said. Her skin was so fair that it was almost translucent. She looked stunning in any dress, even if she was wrapped in a curtain. When Zhou Caneve and Zhao Su stood together, they looked like an immortal couple. Qinxia pays respects to Your Majesty. Ningxu bowed to Zhao Su. This concubine pays her respects to the Empress. Zhou Caneve bowed to Ningxu right away, but she hadn't been fully trained in court etiquette, so her salute wasn't proper at all. Ningxu glanced at Zhou Caneve, but didn't say anything. Zhao Su reached out to help Ningxu up. Zitong, please rise. Zitong was the emperor's pet name for the empress, which meant husband and wife. Thank you, Your Majesty. Ningxu stood up and asked, Why are you here, Your Majesty? I brought Zhou Caneve here. Zhao Su cleared his throat awkwardly. I asked her to come and greet you. Ningxu didn't seem to notice Zhou Caneve until then. He turned to Zhou Caneve. Zhou Caneve, please rise. Thank you for your grace, Your Majesty. Zhou Caneve rose to her feet. Her every movement was beautiful. Just as Zhou Caneve stood up, a mechanical voice sounded in her head. Mission issued. Suppress the Empress' arrogance. Mission time limit of half a year. Mission reward. Fragrance and permanent fragrance. When Zhou Caneve heard that the mission time limit was half a year, she sighed in relief. She was afraid that the system would make her go against the Empress now. She hadn't gained a firm foothold yet. If she went against her superior directly, she would die a horrible death. Any random reason or crime would be enough to make her unable to make a comeback. Even if something happened, the Emperor wouldn't protect her. One was married for many years, while the other was just a one-night stand. To be able to become the Emperor, to be able to become the leader of a country, they all had their own strengths. Besides, there were so many beauties in the harem. One less wouldn't be a big deal. Many thoughts flashed through Zhou Caneve's mind. This was the result of her many years of experience in the modern workplace. Zitong. Zhao Su sat on the chair and called out to Ningxu. Ningxu asked, Your Majesty, what's the matter? Now that Zhou Caneve is a legitimate imperial concubine, she can't go to the cold palace anymore. Arrange a place for her to live. Zhao Su turned the thumb ring on his thumb. Caneve's status is too low. Ningxu nodded. Letting Zhou Caneve live in the cold palace is indeed a grievance. The environment of Yingyue Palace's Yuqiong court is very good. The environment is quiet and elegant. The noble consort is the master of Yingyue Palace. The noble consort has a lively personality, and will definitely get along well with Zhou Caneve. When Zhou Caneve heard that Yingyue Palace was the noble consort's territory, she immediately had a bad feeling. She couldn't help but glance at Ningxu. She felt that the Empress was deliberately sending her into the hands of the noble consort. After all, it was the noble consort who banished this body to the cold palace. Zhou Cave wanted to refuse, but seeing the satisfaction on Zhao Su's face, it was obvious that he was satisfied with this arrangement. Zhou Cave could only keep her mouth shut. When she didn't have any power, she could only accept it and slowly figure it out in the future. So what if it was the noble consort? When the time came, they could slowly deal with each other. Zhou Cave has already served the Empress. It is time for her to be promoted. She is now a 9th level talented lady. How about she be promoted to an 8th level consort? Ning Shu kept a smile on his face as he spoke to Zhao Su. Zhao Su glanced at the picturesque and elegant Zhou Cave standing there. He pursed his lips and said, "The consort selection is a bit low. What position does the emperor think she should be promoted?" The smile on Ning Shu's face faded a bit. This old lady is in a bad mood right now. Zhao Su naturally saw Ning Shu's expression and said, "How about this? Xiaoyi of the 7th level consort. Qinxia will listen to the emperor." Ning Shu turned his head to look at Zhou Cave. "No, she should be called Zhou Xiaoyi now." He faintly said, "Why aren't you thanking the emperor for his grace? Everyone else was promoted 1 rank at a time, but you were promoted by 2 ranks. In the future, you must properly serve the emperor." Zhou Xiaoyi immediately bowed. "Qinxia thanks the emperor for his grace. Qinxia thanks the empress for her grace. Promotion. Reward. Weeping Pear Blossom Skill." The beloved consort system's voice rang out. Zhou Xiaoyi's heart leaped with joy. She didn't think that there would be a reward for her promotion. Weeping Pear Blossom Skill made her look so lovely and lovely. Issued a quest. If you are promoted within 2 months, you will be rewarded with the Supreme Grade Masterpiece Dragon Ball. Chapter 974. Dragon Ball? Zhou Xiaoyi asked the system in her head. What's a Dragon Ball? It's a narrow jade door, a long chamber and a low position, the system explained. Men will be infatuated with it. Zhou Xiaoyi blushed a little at those words, and made up her mind to get it. Sex was everything between a man and a woman. "Zitong, I'll be here for lunch." Zhao Su patted Ning Shu's hands on his lap. "I'm going to take care of business now. See you off, Your Majesty." Ning Shu rose to his feet and curtsied, snickering inwardly. He had insulted her just then, and now she was going to make up for it with a meal. Ning Shu wanted to say, get lost, don't come. Come over and pick up your chopsticks to eat," but she would be busy for a while. After Zhao Su left, Ning Shu and Zhou Xiaoyi were the only ones left in the hall. Ning Shu looked Zhou Xiaoyi up and down, and found her to be more and more beautiful. Her skin was so perfect that it was flawless. Her skin was like fine white jade, with a faint healthy flush. Her complexion was extremely good. Zhou Xiaoyi was a little uneasy under Ning Shu's gaze. After all, she was only a 7th-ranked concubine, and was a little intimidated by the empress. "Qiuling, send Zhou Xiaoyi to Yingyue Palace and ask Lady Zhuang to take good care of her," Ning Shu said to Qiuling, then said to Zhou Xiaoyi, "You must be tired after serving Her Majesty in bed last night. Go back and get some rest." "Thank you for your kindness, Your Majesty." Zhou Xiaoyi bowed to Ning Shu. "I'll get an etiquette instructor to teach Zhou Xiaoyi the rules later," said Ning Shu. Zhou Xiaoyi looked embarrassed. Qiuling wanted to bow to people all the time, and complained that she didn't do it well. "Yes." Ning Shu bowed, then turned to Zhou Xiaoyi. "Zhou Xiaoyi, please." Ning Shu stared at Zhou Xiaoyi's back. Just by looking at her back, she was so beautiful and elegant. Ning Shu clicked his tongue twice. Love begins with one's appearance, sinks into one's talent, and is loyal to one's character. The beloved concubine system first created the image of Zhou Ningning as a devastatingly beautiful celestial concubine. Everyone loved beauty, especially the emperor who was used to seeing beautiful women. He wanted her to be extraordinarily beautiful. However, what was the point of having beauty alone? She had to use all kinds of skills to support her. Tang and song poems, Yuan and songs, reciting poems, writing couplets, discussing the 100 schools of thought, discussing the Tao, zither, chess, calligraphy and painting. She was proficient in all kinds of things, becoming a woman with thoughts and inner qualities. The female craftsmanship was exquisite. Embroidering a flower to attract butterflies. The chef's skills instantly killed the imperial kitchen's chef. My sister is amazing. When the male lead saw this, he thought, "Oh my God, my woman is beautiful and talented. Her poems are sought after by scholars. I have so much face." She was able to respond to whatever he said. There were so many women in the harem, and the empress had the airs of an empress. She was afraid that she would lose the dignity of an empress. The other women were either hypocritical or stupid. Only by staying with this woman could his soul be released. This was love. However, love that did not experience life and death was not called love. Every time the male lead encountered any danger, the beloved concubine system would issue a mission for the female lead to rush forward like a martyr to block swords and knives for the male lead. When the male lead saw this, oh my, he was so touched. Which woman in this harem was willing to die for him? Which woman would risk her life for him when he was in danger? The women in the harem loved his status. They loved glory, splendor, wealth, and rank. Only this woman loved him as a person. From then on, the roots of love were deeply planted. It was enough to have this one person in this life. The other women were existences that obstructed their love. Ningxu expressed that there was really nothing in this world that could not be tricked. Even the wise emperor was tricked into love. These wild systems were existences that seized the fate and laws of the plane. Zhao Su was the emperor, and the emperor called himself the son of heaven. He had both fate and the fate of the nation. As the emperor's women, the women in the harem more or less all had fate on them. Otherwise, they would not have been able to become the emperor's women. This beloved concubine system was to create the female lead into a perfect woman in the eyes of men. It was tailor-made for men's taste. It defeated all the women in the harem and concentrated the fate on the female lead. It even seized the emperor's fate and the nation's fate. Although Zhou Xiaoyi was endlessly beautiful and loved by all, she was just a marionette, a slave of the beloved concubine system. However, Zhou Xiaoyi was happy because she had received all kinds of glory and wealth. She had even made an emperor fall in love with her and dispersed the harem for her. "Your Highness, this servant has already sent Zhou Xiaoyi to Yingyue Palace and told Lady Zhuang to take good care of Zhou Xiaoyi. I also asked Nanny Cheng to teach Zhou Xiaoyi." Qiuling returned and reported to Ningxu. Ningxu nodded. Good. With Lady Zhuang's bad temper, she would definitely make things difficult for Zhou Xiaoyi. This Nanny Cheng was an old maid from the time of the late emperor. She was rigid and strict, and as she got older, her temper became even more eccentric. She would definitely make Zhou Xiaoyi suffer. This beloved concubine system kept giving the female lead tasks. Once they were completed, the female lead would be given skills. As a result, the female lead became an all-round and perfect woman. What he needed to do now was to reduce Zhao Su's contact with Zhou Xiaoyi. Once he did, many tasks would be triggered. The more tasks Zhou Xiaoyi completed, the more skills Zhou Xiaoyi would gain. If Zhou Xiaoyi failed too many times and failed to make the emperor fall in love with her, the beloved concubine system would abandon this slave and look for a new host. What Ningxu needed to do was to have 2333 destroy the beloved concubine system the moment it left Zhou Xiaoyi. "Your Highness, His Majesty said he would come for lunch at noon. Shall I give the order now?" Qiuling asked Ningxu. Ningxu nodded, then said to Qiuling, "Give mother a message." "Yes, Your Highness." Qiuling bowed and left the palace. Fu Wanhui's father was the grand tutor, and Fu Wanhui was the only daughter in the family. Her parents had her when they were old and doted on her very much. Fu Wanhui had been married to Zhao Su for several years, but she didn't have any children. Ningxu felt the pulse of this body and found that she was healthy. At noon, Zhao Su came over for lunch and set a table full of dishes. Seeing that Ningxu was eating with his head down, Zhao Su put some food in Ningxu's bowl. "Zitong, you've worked hard in the imperial harem." "It's not hard at all. It's just that I've never had a child for His Majesty. I'm ashamed," said Ningxu. "It's fate. There's no hurry. Zitong and I are still young," said Zhao Su casually. Ningxu didn't know if Zhao Su really didn't care, or if he was just pretending. Was he really not worried at all? There were very few children in the imperial harem, and concubine, there was the only one who had a princess. Ningxu didn't care. It wasn't like she was the one who gave birth to the princess. After lunch, Zhao Su chatted with Ning Shu for a while, then left after saying that he had some work to do. Chapter 975. After Zhao Su left, Ning Shu went to rest on the bed in the side hall. He did not allow any palace maids to enter. He sat cross-legged on the bed and began to cultivate. No matter what, he had to have the ability to protect himself. In ancient times, there was abundant spiritual energy. After Ning Shu cultivated for a while, a trace of energy appeared in his dantian. Then he let the energy slowly strengthen his body. To be honest, Zhao Su was very satisfied with Zhou Xiaoyi's body. However, he had just pampered her last night and could not continue. Since he could not pamper Zhou Xiaoyi, Zhao Su still went to Yinghua Palace. However, he did not go to find Zhou Xiaoyi. Instead, he went to see Zhuang Fei. However, when he passed by Yuqiong Court, he saw Zhou Xiaoyi sitting on the railing in the corridor. Zhou Xiaoyi had a simple hairstyle. Her fine black hair fell down. She was wearing plain clothes. Her slender jade hand held a fan of beauty. She lazily fanned herself and slightly raised her head to look at the sky. Her temperament was as beautiful as an orchid. She was like a fairy that had descended to the mortal world. Zhao Su narrowed his eyes and waved his hand to Eunuch Li. Eunuch Li understood. He glanced at Zhou Xiaoyi and went to tell Zhuang Fei that the emperor would not come. Zhao Su slowly walked towards Zhou Xiaoyi. He reached out and lifted Zhou Xiaoyi's hair to sniff it. Zhou Xiaoyi did not seem to notice Zhao Su's arrival. She lazily said, "Lianer, I'm thirsty. Pour me a cup of water." Zhao Su took the teacup from the palace maid and handed it to Zhou Xiaoyi. Zhou Xiaoyi was about to take it when Zhao Su pretended to be angry and said, "How dare you ask Zhen to pour tea for you?" "Emperor." Zhou Xiaoyi was startled and quickly bowed. "Drink. Weren't you thirsty?" Zhao Su gave the teacup to Zhou Xiaoyi. Zhou Xiaoyi took a sip. Zhao Su took the teacup from her hand and drank the rest of the tea. Beauty's breath is like orchids. The fragrance of the teacup is enchanting, Zhao Su said teasingly. He even put the teacup to his nose and sniffed it. When a man was interested in a woman, he had the patience to tease and flirt with her. When he was impatient, he did not even want to look at her. Zhou Xiaoyi's face was flushed red, and she looked especially charming. Zhao Su couldn't help but reach out to touch her face. It was tender and warm. Zhou Xiaoyi rubbed her head against Zhao Su's palm, causing Zhao Su's lower abdomen to tighten. He carried Zhou Xiaoyi, and Zhou Xiaoyi wrapped her arms around Zhao Su's neck. The closer they got, the more Zhao Su could smell the fragrance coming out of Zhou Xiaoyi's mouth. It was elegant and enchanting. Next, it was naturally time to make waves. On the other side, Eunuch Li told noble consort Zhuang that the emperor had stayed behind in Jade Garden. He was so angry that he almost smashed his cup and stirred his handkerchief with all his might. He couldn't stop himself from cursing the wretch again and again. He was so angry that he cried. The next morning, when she went to the Long Autumn Palace to pay her respects, the noble consort looked at Zhou Xiaoyi, who had been nourished to the point of being incomparably beautiful. Her face was so ferocious that it could bore a hole through Zhou Xiaoyi with her stare. Zhou Xiaoyi just waved the fan of beauty elegantly, ignoring the noble consort's gaze. Ning Shu walked from the side chamber to the main hall, and glanced at the noble consort and Zhou Xiaoyi. He hadn't seen Zhou Xiaoyi for one night, and she had become even more beautiful. Damn, the more time passed, the more beautiful she became. She really was different when she was using cheats. She made all the women in the room look like ordinary women. When the noble consort looked at Ning Shu, her eyes were watery and incomparably pitiful. Ning Shu ignored the noble consort's gaze and looked at Zhou Xiaoyi. I heard that the emperor went to your Jade Garden yesterday? As soon as Ning Shu said this, the room of orioles and swallows immediately looked at Zhou Xiaoyi. Zhou Xiaoyi hurriedly stood up and bowed. Empress, Chenxia is just a small Xiaoyi. I can't decide or interfere with the emperor. The emperor wanted to go to her place. Should she kick him out? The empress was deliberately making hatred for her. There was no reason for her not to fight back. Besides, there was still a mission to suppress the empress' arrogance. If she completed it, she would be able to obtain the permanent body fragrance. Ning Shu's eyebrows jumped. Why didn't you stay in the room and model outside? Why would Jiaosu go to your jade garden? How could a man not know that a woman was seducing him? Of course he knew. He was just going with the flow. Besides, if a woman was so painstakingly trying to keep him, it meant that he was charming. Ning Shu said indifferently. Why are you so agitated? I was just asking to have the clerk record it down. Since you don't want to record it, then forget it. Serving in bed was not recorded. If Zhou Xiaoyi was pregnant this time, the records would not be able to be checked. This child would have no justification. Zhou Xiaoyi was stunned. She was secretly annoyed. She was too anxious. She really wanted that fragrant body. Her skin was now whiter than snow, and Jiaosu liked it very much. If she had a fragrant body, it would be even more perfect. Empress, please forgive me. Qinxia spoke without thinking. Please forgive me. Zhou Xiaoyi hurriedly bowed. In the future, she must be more cautious. Only when she had the strength could she bare her fangs. Ning Shu glanced at Zhou Xiaoyi. Your salute is still not standard. Aren't you learning the rules from Li Mama? The emperor doesn't care, but in the future, when you have to face the imperial family, relatives, civil and military officials, your actions will represent the imperial family and the emperor. Learn more from Li Mama. Li Mama used to be a clerk by Xindi's side. It's not wrong to learn more from her. Ning Shu looked at Zhou Xiaoyi who had been curtsying. Is it good? Yes, Qinxia will remember. Zhou Xiaoyi's voice was trembling. She had been curtsying, and her body was swaying. Zhou Xiaoyi's salute was not bad, but when Ning Shu found fault with it, no one stood out to speak for her. They all looked like they were watching a good show. This kind of behavior was the most disgusting. There was only one man in the palace, and he had finally come. In the end, he was pulled away halfway. He would definitely vomit blood. Deep hatred was nothing more than this. Ning Shu did not tell Zhou Xiaoyi to get up. He picked up the teacup and took a sip. Then he said, in the next few days, you don't have to come to greet me. Learn the rules and etiquette from Li Mama. Zhou Xiaoyi bit her lip. Was this a disguised ban on her feet? But what about her task? There was a task called Pamper the Harem. She had to have Jiaosu dote on her for 7 days. Then she would be rewarded with ice skin and jade bones. This ice skin and jade bones reward could adjust the body to the most perfect state. Then she would have a perfect figure, a perky, plump and a slim waist. Zhou Xiaoyi, did you hear what I said? Ning Shu asked. Qinxia understands. Qinxia will learn the rules from Li Mama. Zhou Xiaoyi lowered her head and said, okay, everyone can go back. Ning Shu said. Qinxia will leave. She stood up and bowed to Ning Shu and left. Zhou Xiaoyi had been squatting for a while. Her legs were a little sore. The palace maid next to her helped her up. Zhou Xiaoyi looked back at Ning Shu, who was sitting there. At this moment, he was staring at her. When their eyes met, Zhou Xiaoyi quickly lowered her head. The other concubines all left. Consort Zhuang stayed. She looked at Ning Shu with a wronged face and said, Nyang Nyang, look at that vixen. Qinxia feels wronged. Chapter 976. Ning Shu was speechless when he saw the noble consort looking at him pitifully. He had already sent her to her territory, but she was still intercepted. Who could she blame? Nyang Nyang, look at that Zhou Xiaoyi. She's just a commoner 7th rank, yet she dares to embarrass you in front of so many sisters. The noble consort twisted the handkerchief in her hand, and Ning Shu said indignantly. Ning Shu took a sip of tea and smacked his lips. The things in the imperial palace were good. Nyang Nyang, Qinxia is not trying to sow discord, but that Zhou Xiaoyi is too much. The noble consort saw that Ning Shu was in a daze again and spoke up. Oh. Ning Shu put down the teacup. This Zhou Xiaoyi is someone from your palace. You can't even control the people in your palace. Yet you still have the face to complain in front of me. Go back and teach the people in your palace. Ning Shu felt that she would not have the face to complain if a 4th-rank concubine, the head of a palace, could not control a 7th-rank concubine. Nyang Nyang, you didn't see her foxy appearance. How should Qinxia control her? Qinxia also feels embarrassed, but Qinxia has no choice. The noble consort looked depressed. Qinxia is stupid and doesn't know how to teach her. She is now favored by the emperor, So Chinchilla has no choice. You always have no choice. Can't you think of a way yourself? Ningxu really admired the noble consort. Sure enough, she was able to get people out. But then again, shouldn't a general be familiar with all kinds of tactics? People who fought wars had the fastest brains. They desperately wanted to protect their own lives and could stimulate any kind of potential. Was it because the noble consort was a girl? You want to deal with Zhou Xiaoyi that much? Ningxu asked. This consort is the mother of a country. What I want most is to see the harem in harmony. It is the blessing of the great Qian dynasty that you can give birth to an heir for the emperor. When Ningxu said this, he almost bit his tongue. The noble consort looked helpless and stood up. Ningxu bowed. Chinchilla understands. Chinchilla will take her leave. Ahem. Ningxu coughed. You caught a cold last night. Are you feeling better? What? Zhuangfei was a little confused. Didn't you say that you're not feeling well? Get an imperial physician to take a look. Ningxu said again. Zhuangfei shook her head. I'm not feeling unwell. Are you feeling unwell? I didn't. Ningxu was speechless. Ningxu waved his hand. You may leave. Nyang Nyang. What do you mean when you say that Chinchilla is sick? The noble consort Ningxu took 2 steps forward. Ningxu said, Zhou Xiaoyi needs to learn etiquette and rules seriously. Consort Zhuang thought for a long time. Her eyes lit up, but then she frowned. Nyang Nyang, Chinchilla is sick. What if the emperor summons Chinchilla to bed? Ningxu almost couldn't control himself from rolling his eyes. If he said that the emperor was sick, he definitely wouldn't go to Inua Palace. How important was the emperor's body? There were so many women in the imperial harem, so there were too many choices. Zhuangfei obviously had scruples. The imperial harem's favor was greater than the sky, and if she was sick and closed the palace, it would be a lose-lose situation. Ningxu took another sip of tea. The tea flowed down his throat to his stomach. Oh, it was really delicious. The emperor is still very interested in Zhou Xiaoyi. Ningxu almost directly said that even if Zhao Su went to Inua Palace, it had nothing to do with her. Zhuangfei looked conflicted and finally stamped her feet. Nyang Nyang Nyang. Chinchilla is not feeling well. Ningxu was speechless. Was she feeling well or not? Get an imperial physician to take a look, Ningxu said helplessly. Don't come to pay respects to me for the next few days. Chinchilla thanks the empress for her grace. Zhuangfei took her leave. After leaving Long Autumn Palace, Zhuangfei returned to Inua Palace and went to Yuqiong Garden to see Zhou Xiaoyi. Zhou Xiaoyi was now being taught a lesson by Nanny Li. She had a book on her head and a vase on the book. Nanny Li held a bamboo stick in her hand and asked Zhou Xiaoyi to salute. Zhou Xiaoyi bent her body slightly, but the vase on her head fell to the ground with a clang and broke into pieces. Zhou Xiaoyi, please be more serious. Nanny Li took the bamboo stick and hit Zhou Xiaoyi's waist. When you salute, straighten your waist and don't move. Xiaoyi, you have to learn etiquette as soon as possible. Nanny Li said in a deep voice. I heard that the empress is not satisfied with your etiquette. In the next few days, Xiaoyi has to learn the rules from this old servant. After being hit in the waist, Zhou Xiaoyi hissed in pain. Her skin had been transformed by the system and became very sensitive. Even a finger press could turn red. Being hit by Nanny Li was very painful. Zhou Xiaoyi regretted her rash actions in Long Autumn Palace. The harem had a strict hierarchy. She shouldn't have confronted the empress so early. Zhou Xiaoyi now understood why the favored concubine system gave her half a year. When the noble consort saw the embarrassed Zhou Xiaoyi, she sneered and said to the maid beside her, I'm not feeling well. Ask the imperial physician to go to Inua Palace. Yes, your highness. The noble consort looked at Zhou Xiaoyi, who had a graceful figure. Even though she was embarrassed by Nanny Li, she still looked lovely and charming. There were tears in her eyes. If a man saw this, his heart would soften. But Zhou Xiaoyi was facing the hard-hearted Nanny Li. A woman's way of dealing with a man didn't work in front of a woman. Zhou Xiaoyi was just sick and had to stay in the palace for a while. With Zhou Xiaoyi's appearance and figure, she would definitely have a meteoric rise. She had offended Zhou Xiaoyi before and sent Zhou Xiaoyi to the cold palace. The noble consort didn't believe that Zhou Xiaoyi would not retaliate against her. The imperial physician came to see the noble consort and said that the noble consort had a summer fever. He asked her to rest well and wait for the weather to cool down. Ning Shu sent some tonics to the noble consort and asked her not to come to greet him and to have a good rest. Ning Shu also asked the female official Tongshi to temporarily cancel the concubine's service in Inua Palace. As for when the noble consort would recover, who could say for sure? Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. The noble consort had to recuperate while keeping an eye on Zhou Xiaoyi. She was worried that Zhou Xiaoyi would go out and have a chance encounter with the emperor. It was not only the noble consort who kept an eye on Zhou Xiaoyi, but also Nanny Li. The empress had reprimanded Zhou Xiaoyi in front of so many concubines. She felt quite embarrassed. No one could doubt her professionalism. Zhou Xiaoyi's favorite thing was to wear her hair loose and elegant clothes, which made her look like an otherworldly fairy. It was casual and mischievous. But Nanny Li felt that this was not proper. She asked the maid to comb her hair properly. At night, she looked like a female ghost with her hair loose. Zhou Xiaoyi was really anxious. Her task of being the most favored in the harem had failed. She hadn't seen Zhao Su for 2 days. Men liked the new and got tired of the old. He had forgotten her so quickly. The second failure. You have one more chance to fail. If you fail again, you will be punished, the system said. Chapter 977. Zhou Xiaoyi sighed inwardly. Logically speaking, she had the absolute advantage. Why was it so difficult? Zhou Xiaoyi thought for a while and felt that she had exposed her ambition too early. No boss in the workplace liked their subordinates staring at their positions every day. She had slept with the empress too early and had dragged the emperor to her courtyard. But if she didn't drag Zhao Su to her courtyard, her task would still fail. Anyway, it had come to this, so she had to take it slow. Task: serve the empress tonight. The system's mechanical voice rang out. Zhou Xiaoyi couldn't help but scratch her hair in distress. How could she serve the empress when such a ferocious tigress was watching her? Besides, the empress dowager was ill and none of the concubines in the Inua palace could serve her. This mission was simply forcing him to do something he couldn't do. Xiaoyi, please don't do such indecent things. Seeing Zhou Xiaoyi scratching her ears and cheeks, Granny Li couldn't help but say. Zhou Xiaoyi looked at the tigress' wrinkled face and triangular eyes. Why did she still keep such a person in the palace? It was time for her to retire. She could just give her some money and kick her out of the palace. Why did she still stay in the palace? This kind of stubborn old woman was the most annoying. If she had power in the future, she would definitely get rid of this old woman. It was so annoying to have her in front of her. Was she going to fail the task again? Xiaoyi, please continue to learn the rules. When you bow, don't move your waist or upper body and just bend your knees slightly. Granny Li said. So annoying. Zhou Xiaoyi was so annoyed that all she could think of was how to serve the empress tonight. Your Majesty, Madam is here. Qiuling walked into the hall and said to Ning Shu. Ning Shu put down the teacup. Let mother in. Madame Fu walked into the hall in a noble dress followed by a maid in a maid's uniform. Greetings to your Majesty. Madame Fu bowed to Ning Shu. Mother, please get up. Ning Shu helped Madame Fu to her feet and glanced at the maid next to her. Mother, please sit down. Ning Shu asked Qiuling to prepare some pastries and tea for Madame Fu. Your Highness, have you really thought it through? Madame Ning Shu asked. Ning Shu nodded. Is it this woman? Raise your head and let me have a look. The maid behind Madame Fu walked to the middle and Ning Shu bowed. Liani greets your Majesty. Liani raised her head, revealing a bright and seductive face. This woman only had one characteristic. Seductive, seductive, seductive. Her long and narrow eyes were really like those of a fox. Vixen. Ning Shu's first impression of this woman was that she was a vixen. Liani grew up in a brothel. Madame Fu didn't look happy. Your Highness. Mother, I know what to do. Ning Shu took a sip of tea. Liani, let the Empress have a look, Madame Fu said to Liani. Yes. Liani raised her foot above her head. Then she bent her body into a frightening angle. Ningshu's face was expressionless, as if he was watching a circus. Your Highness, Liani's body is very flexible, and she has been soaking in all kinds of herbs since she was a child, said Madame Fu. If she is soaked in herbs, she will never be able to get pregnant. Liani was raised to be the top prostitute in a brothel, and I spent a lot of money to buy her back, said Madame Fu. Your Highness, there are already so many concubines in the imperial harem. Madame Fu paused and Ningshu said to Qiuling, take Liani away and wash her up. Yes. Qiuling left with Liani. Your Highness, you might be hurt by the wolf if you lure the wolf away, Madame Fu said worriedly. Your Highness should be giving birth to an heir for His Majesty. Those women in the imperial harem can't surpass Your Highness. Ningshu pursed his lips and hesitated. Why did he have to find a woman? Because Ningshu knew too well what men were like. They liked the new and hated the old. With this woman, Zhao Su might be able to ignore Zhou Xiaoyi for the time being, because she was not Fu Wanhui and didn't care about Zhao Su at all. But there were enough women in the imperial harem. Did he have to find another woman for Fu Wanhui? This Liani has a famous weapon, and she has been trained to be like this since she was a child. She knows how men think. Because she knows her destiny, she says that it is better to serve His Majesty than to be surrounded by thousands of men in a brothel. Wanhui, women like her can be very scary. Madame Fu said. Because they can do anything to survive. They are not like us, who are bound by all kinds of rules and have no dignity. All they have to do is to survive and please men. Ningshu sighed. We're all trying to please men. We're all born to depend on men. So what you need to do is to have the capital to settle down. Now that His Majesty doesn't have a male heir. Children are the most important thing in the imperial harem. Your Majesty, don't think too much about doting on them. Madame Fu looked at Ningshu. Your Majesty, you decide whether you want to keep Liani or not. Ningshu couldn't help but cover her heart. This body was resisting and unwilling. Women. Ningshu said to Madame Fu. Then you can take Liani back. Your Majesty, that's right, Madame Fu said. The women in the imperial harem are all daughters of famous families, and they are all in the imperial harem. Your Majesty, if you get a woman from the red light district, it will be bad for your reputation. Your Majesty, you are the mother of the country and a role model for all women in the world. You can't let others know about your every move. Mother, I will remember. She was responsible for the century-old reputation of the Fu family, and everyone in the imperial harem had their eyes on her. In such a position, there was no way she could have an affair. Fu Wanhui was a qualified mother of the country. She chose the lesser of two evils. She chose to share her husband with so many women in the imperial harem or be abandoned. Fu Wanhui chose to keep her reputation. Ningshu wanted to pull Zhao Su down from the throne, but then Ningshu found a problem. She didn't have an heir to the throne and there wasn't even a child in the imperial harem. Ningshu suspected that the lack of children in the imperial harem was intentional on Zhao Su's part. If they had children too early, if they grew up, they would threaten his position, and cause the concubines who had given birth to sons to have other thoughts. Ningshu hadn't seen what kind of person Zhao Su was until now. It was said that he was a very capable emperor. Other than Zhou Xiaoyi, he hadn't opened his heart to anyone else. Most of the women in the imperial harem were just for fun. The imperial harem belonged to the emperor, but the imperial harem couldn't control the emperor's thoughts. It was true that the emperor's heart was like the sea and accompanying the emperor was like accompanying a tiger. Chapter 978. It was impossible for her to be the empress. In this society where men were superior to women, how could a woman be the empress? Without any ability, she would be torn apart by the men around her. In 5 or 6 years, she wouldn't be able to ascend the throne, let alone leave. When Fu Wanhui came back, she didn't know if she had the ability. Besides, Fu Wanhui didn't have any children. She was a woman facing a hopeless future. Ningshu shook her head, and threw the idea of being the empress out of her head. It was too unrealistic. She had to be realistic. Her mission was to make Zhou Xiaoyi disappear. She had to make the system disappear. Why did she care so much? If she had the time, She might as well take care of her body and wait for Fu Wanhui to come back and have a child. Women in this era all lived like this. They followed the 3 rules and 4 virtues. They lived with their husband as the world. If a mantis tried to stop a car, it would be crushed by the wheels. Empress, Madame Fu called out to Ningxu. Fuck, what's with my habit of being absent-minded? In the past, I was always ready to go, but this mission was surprisingly relaxing. At least she didn't have to face violent attacks at any time. Mother, I've thought it through. You can take Liani back, Ningxu said calmly. Empress, please let me stay in the palace. Liani is willing to work hard for you. Liani walked into the palace. Hearing Ningxu's words, she immediately knelt on the ground and kowtowed. Empress, please take me in. Ningxu raised her eyebrows and said calmly, no need. Nyang Nyang, please accept this servant. This servant is willing to be Nyang Nyang's dog and follow Nyang Nyang's orders. Liani cried. I don't want to go back to the brothel. I'd rather be your servant who washes your feet. Washes her feet? Ningxu rolled her eyes. She remembered that Qianlong's concubine Ling Fei used to wash Empress Fucha's feet. After Empress Fucha died, she fainted from crying at the funeral and attracted Qianlong's attention. She became a winner in life and had many children with Qianlong. She was the birth mother of the Jiaqing Emperor. Ningxu looked at Ripples, who was sobbing. No need, you can go back with mother. Ningxu took a sip of water from her teacup and lightly said, it was dangerous to keep such a person by his side. Both Liani and Zhou Xiaoyi were women made for men. One of them walked the low-end route, while the other walked the high-end route. No matter what, men would fall for this trick. Ningxu didn't believe that Liani would be willing to be a maid. She had suffered so much since she was a child. She had been soaked in herbs every day just to make her body more flexible, so that she could pose in all kinds of difficult positions and let men feel the supreme pleasure of sex. What he had learned had to be put to good use. That's enough. You're not fit to stay in the royal palace. You can leave now. Ningxu asked Qiuling to take Liani out. Then, Your Highness, I will take my leave first. Please take good care of yourself. Madame Fu stood up and bowed to Ningxu. Ningxu nodded and said, Mother, don't keep this woman at home. She will make the house restless. On the other hand, she had taken it for granted. She shouldn't have taken it for granted. As the Empress, she couldn't deal with a concubine and had to drag another woman in. How useless. Ningxu wanted to slap his own face. I understand. I will deal with this person and she will go back to where she came from, Madame Fu said. No matter how unwilling Liani was to leave the palace, she was taken away by Madame Fu. As soon as Madame Fu left, Ningxu said to Qiuling, the noble consort has been ill for a few days. Go and see her. Yes. Ningxu went to Inghua Palace to see the noble consort. The noble consort was eating sunflower seeds and she looked well. Your Highness. The noble consort bowed to Ningxu immediately. Ningxu lied through his teeth. I am here to see how you are doing. I still feel stuffy in my chest, the noble consort said with a hand over her chest. I brought you some medicine. Remember to take it. Ningxu pursed his lips and said. Yes, I will remember to take the medicine on time, the noble consort said with a nod. Ningxu picked up the sunflower seeds on the table and started eating. He asked, Has Zhou Xiaoyi come to pay her respects to you? Empress, it's not that I'm trying to sow discord, but ever since Zhou Xiaoyi came to Yingyu Palace, she hasn't come to pay her respects to me. She hasn't properly paid her respects to me, the master of the palace. Noble consort Zhuang said very emotionally. Sit down and drink some water. Ningxu pointed at the stool. It's just a formality. Don't worry about it. The noble consort sat down. How can this be? Rank determines a person's noble status. If that concubine were to be impudent when she saw the empress in the future, the harem would be in chaos. Ningxu nodded. You are right. Your Highness, noble consort, Zhou Xiaoyi of Yuqiong Garden has come to pay her respects. A palace maid came in and told Ningxu and the noble consort. Let her in. Ningxu put the sunflower seeds in his hand on the fruit plate. Hurry up and clean this up, the noble consort said to the palace maid. When Zhou Xiaoyi came in, Ningxu almost didn't recognize her. She was dressed neatly and her hair was combed neatly. The style of cloth, hair, and jewelry in the palace were strictly regulated. Depending on your rank, you could only wear what kind of clothes, wear what kind of hairstyle, and use what kind of headdress. According to the rules, Xiaoyi, who was of the 7th rank of the Shu family, looked very shabby compared to the other concubines. Zhou Xiaoyi was followed by Mammy Li. Mammy Li was dressed in dark clothes and had a serious and slightly wrinkled face. It was daunting. At first glance, one could tell that she was a tigress. Ningxu didn't know if it was an illusion, but Ningxu felt that Zhou Xiaoyi walked very strangely. Her steps were very small, like a woman in a kimono. It felt strange. Only this kind of old palace maid knew how to teach people. Looking at Zhou Xiaoyi's face, it used to be white and rosy, but now it was only white. Zhou Xiaoyi's face was very pale, and her chin was sharp. What was going on? Zhou Xiaoyi's body was a little stiff as she saluted Ningxu and the noble consort. Qinxia greets the empress and the noble consort. Zhou Xiaoyi's salute was like a machine. It was very standard but very stiff. When she saluted, Zhou Xiaoyi looked at Mammy Li from the corner of her eyes. Seeing Mammy Li's satisfied expression, she was relieved. She now hoped to see the emperor soon. This Mammy Li was simply a pervert. She used the excuse of teaching her the rules to torture her. She was now in pain and sore all over. Every day, she was forced to salute countless times by this perverted woman. Zhou Xiaoyi suspected that this old woman had become a pervert because she had never married in her life. After being grounded for a few days, Zhou Xiaoyi finally understood that men were all cheap playthings. After being dumped, they never came looking for her again. Chapter 979. What Zhou Xiaoyi wanted now was to get out of her current predicament as soon as possible. Now she couldn't even see the emperor's face. Even a servant could bully her. This was the result of having no power and influence. Zhou Xiaoyi was an office spirit, not the kind of little girl who longed for love. Especially after experiencing this, she really felt that what was in the palm of her hand was the most important. When the emperor visited a prostitute, she would be given a position and a courtyard to live in. She had failed 3 missions. Yesterday, she attracted the punishment of the beloved concubine system, needle pricking. Zhou Xiaoyi originally thought that it was just a needle pricking, but in the end, every corner of her body was pricked in an instant. The pain almost made her urinate. Zhou Xiaoyi was in so much pain that her eyes rolled back. This pain lasted for 10 minutes. Moreover, the system also said that if she failed the next mission, the pain would last for half an hour, and there would be lightning strikes. As long as she thought of this, Zhou Xiaoyi was terrified. She didn't want to bear such pain anymore. Now, no matter what, she had to walk out of Inghua Palace and see Zhao Su. Zhou Xiaoyi looked at the melon seed shells on the ground, and then looked at the Zhuang Fei's good complexion. She didn't look sick at all. These 2 people were deliberately playing with her. In the face of such a situation, Zhou Xiaoyi had no other choice but to endure. Ningxu bowed. Empress, this concubine has not paid respects to Empress for a while. My heart is very uneasy. Tomorrow morning, this concubine wants to pay respects to Empress. Ningxu raised her eyebrows. Was this showing weakness and lifting her confinement? Don't worry. When the Zhuang Fei recovers, you will pay respects to me together. Ningxu said lightly. Learn the rules well. When you go out, you will give the emperor a surprise. Ningxu looked at Mammy Li and said with a smile. Mammy Li used to follow the former emperor. Even the former emperor praised her. Zhou Xiaoyi, learn well from Mammy Li. It will be good for you. Thank you for your praise, Empress. This old servant doesn't deserve it. Mammy Li bowed and said. Have a good rest. Ningxu stood up and said to the Zhuang Fei before leaving. Farewell, Empress. Farewell, Empress. Zhou Xiaoyi watched Ningxu walk away and said to Mammy Li, Mammy, I have something to say to Consort Zhuang. Please go out first. Mammy Li glanced at Zhou Xiaoyi, bowed and went out. Noble Consort Zhuang, this concubine apologizes to you. Zhou Xiaoyi bowed towards the noble consort. The noble consort rolled her eyes and reached out to stroke her temples. What are you apologizing for? You didn't do anything wrong. There is no right or wrong in this harem. I admit that what I did before was not very proper, but we are under the same roof. Sometimes we need to help each other. We can cooperate. Zhou Xiaoyi said frankly, since the emperor has come to Yingyu Palace, the ones who benefit will be us, right? Zhou Xiaoyi said, I will return the favor. The noble consort's expression was somewhat hesitant. She had not received any favor recently. This method of pretending to be sick would still be a loss to her own interests. In this harem, in the end, what they fought for was favor. Without favor, they would live worse than a servant. Noble consort Zhuang, don't worry. I will absolutely not fight for what is yours. I will repay you. Our previous small conflicts can be completely forgotten with a smile. Zhou Xiaoyi said sincerely. You are an imperial concubine, but I am Xiaoyi. I am in Yingyu Palace and cannot escape from your hands. The noble consort pursed her lips and pondered for a long time without answering Zhou Xiaoyi. The noble consort was struggling in her heart. If she cooperated with Zhou Xiaoyi, it would be equivalent to betraying the empress. In this harem, no one could surpass the empress. She was afraid that the empress would hate her because of this. However, the empress would only sacrifice her interests. Take the matter of pretending to be sick as an example. She was supposed to serve the emperor, but this opportunity was given to someone else. Go back first and let this consort think about it. The noble consort waved her hand. Zhou Xiaoyi bowed. Noble consort, His Majesty hasn't come to our Yingyu Palace for a long time. You and I are bound together for good or ill. I'm afraid our Yingyu Palace will become a joke. Noble consort Autumn Maid, who serves the Empress, has returned. She said that she has something for noble consort Zhuang. The noble consort's maid said to the noble consort, Let her in. The noble consort looked a little panicked. She turned to Zhou Xiaoyi and said, Go back to your Yuqiong court first. Zhou Xiaoyi's face darkened. In the end, her promise was not as good as the Empress. Zhou Xiaoyi could only turn and leave. She must find a way to see Zhao Su. As long as she was favored, she could get out of the current situation and avoid the system's punishment. Autumn Maid, what did the Empress say? The noble consort asked Qiuling with an unnatural smile. Qiuling took out a two-tailed golden phoenix hairpin. The phoenix's eyes were made of gems and matched with the golden color. It was particularly gorgeous and bright. Noble consort Zhuang, this is a gift from the Empress. Her Majesty said that this two-tailed phoenix will be reborn in the fire and become three-tailed. Autumn Maid said, holding up the hairpin. The noble consort was stunned and hurriedly had someone accept the hairpin. Thank you for the Empress's grace. I will remember it. The noble consort was now one of the 8 consorts and wore a two-tailed phoenix hairpin. A three-tailed phoenix hairpin could only be worn by one of the 4 consorts above her. The Empress also said that noble consort Zhuang should rest well, Qiuling said. Thank you for your concern, Your Majesty, the noble consort said with a smile. Cilian, see Autumn Maid out for me, the noble consort said. I'll take my leave. Qiuling retreated out of Yingyu Palace. The noble consort looked at the phoenix hairpin on the table and sighed inwardly. The Empress was warning her to give a carrot after a stick. The enmity between her and Zhou Xiaoyi could not be eliminated. The noble consort asked herself if someone had sent her to the cold palace where she could not see the light of day. She would probably want to eat the other party's flesh and drink their blood. Now Zhou Xiaoyi could still calmly talk about cooperation with her. Zhou Xiaoyi was not a simple person. The Empress was not a simple person either. In the harem, no one was a simple person. The noble consort carefully weighed the pros and cons. If she cooperated with Zhou Xiaoyi, she would be the first person Zhou Xiaoyi would deal with when she climbed up. And she would have to risk offending the Empress. She didn't know why the Empress wanted to deal with Zhou Xiaoyi, and she also had enmity with Zhou Xiaoyi. That was why she pretended to be sick. Was she going to betray the Empress now? The noble consort didn't dare. Forget it, she'd better pretend to be sick. What a terrible life. On the other side, Qiuling returned to Long Autumn Palace. Ningxu said, When I went to Yingyu Palace, I saw Zhou Xiaoyi coming out of the main hall. The two of them must have talked for a long time. Ningxu took a sip of tea and sighed inwardly that the tea in the palace was really delicious. Ningxu was not surprised by Qiuling's words. If Zhou Xiaoyi wanted to get out of the current situation, she could only rely on the noble consort. Chapter 980. Zhou Xiaoyi intended to cooperate with Zhuang Fei, but after waiting for a few days, she did not receive a reply from Zhuang Fei. She knew that Zhuang Fei had given up on cooperating with her. Another dead end. Zhou Xiaoyi could only think of other ways. Being trapped in this small Yuqiong garden, Zhou Xiaoyi was very unwilling. The most important thing was that she could not bear the punishment of the system. The punishment almost took half of her life. There were no wounds on her body, but she clearly felt the pain of the needle piercing her flesh and drilling into her bones. What should she do now? Zhou Xiaoyi glanced at Mammy Li, who was staring at her covetously. She was surrounded by enemies, which was not good for action. Mammy Li had been in the palace for so many years, so she should have connections. Endure it first. Han Xian could still bear the humiliation of kneeling. He was just showing weakness to Mammy Li. Zhou Xiaoyi bowed to Mammy Li. Mammy Li was a person who valued rules. She was the emperor's woman. Although a concubine bowed to her, she was still the emperor's woman. She immediately bent her knees and lowered her body. Xiaoyi, you are the master, and you are the same servant as me. It is not appropriate for you to bow to a servant like this. Zhou Xiaoyi suppressed the anger in her heart. This old servant was really stubborn. Mammy Li, you have been tired during this time. I am very grateful. It is worth it for Mammy to accept this bow. Zhou Xiaoyi said politely. This is what I should do. Xiaoyi, you don't have to take it to heart. Mammy Li began to teach Zhou Xiaoyi again. Xiaoyi is the emperor's concubine. How can you bow to a servant? You represent the emperor's family and the emperor's face. In the future, Xiaoyi can't bow to a servant casually. If people see it, it will be a big deal. Zhou Xiaoyi took a deep breath and said, I know. Task: save the emperor at the Mid-Autumn Palace banquet. The task reward is excellent temperament. The system sounded in Zhou Xiaoyi's mind. Zhou Xiaoyi now felt frightened when she heard the mechanical voice of the system. When she heard that she had to save Zhao Su, she was stunned and asked, But I can't go out of Yingyue Palace now. How can I see Zhao Su? Even if Zhao Su is in danger at the banquet, I can't save him. How can I save him? Zhou Xiaoyi decided to ask first. Save him in whatever way you think will impress Zhao Su. The concubine's voice was emotionless. Usually, when a woman dies in his arms, the psychological impact on a man is the greatest. If she dies, how am I supposed to pamper my harem? When Zhou Xiaoyi heard that she was going to die, she quickly shook her head. She was already dead. What honor? Zhao Su would just give her a coffin and some empty title for the living to see. After a period of time, she would be completely forgotten. There were so many women in the harem that he would forget who she was in a few days. It was not worth it to die for such a man. I will release energy. Even if you receive a fatal injury, you will be able to survive, the beloved concubine system said. Zhou Xiaoyi clenched her teeth, but it was still quite painful. You win some, you lose some. She could only do this for now. But I can't attend the Mid-Autumn Festival, Zhou Xiaoyi said helplessly. Every Mid-Autumn Festival, all the concubines except those in the cold palace, and those who are too sick to get up will attend. All the concubines will do their best to compete for beauty, the beloved concubine system said mechanically. Zhou Xiaoyi heaved a sigh of relief. As long as she could get out, she would have a chance to turn the tables. But I'm injured. How can I serve him? This was a suicidal act. How can I serve him when I'm injured? In order to save him, the emperor will definitely give you a title. You have a masterpiece as a reward, which will make men even more infatuated with you, the beloved concubine system said mechanically. As for your injury, you will recover very quickly. Zhou Xiaoyi felt that this was not right. Why don't we change the method? It's not worth it to be injured now. Can't you give me this reward first? During the Mid-Autumn Festival, I will definitely think of a way to attract Zhao Su's attention. You have no right to object, the system said coldly. Zhou Xiaoyi sighed. Perhaps she could use this chance to leave a deep impression in Zhao Su's heart. Zhou Xiaoyi discussed with the system. Don't give me any quests during this period of time. Let me prepare for the Mid-Autumn Festival. Can you not punish me and let me rest properly? You don't have the right to bargain with me. I gave you a quest, so what you need to do is to complete it. The beloved concubine system's voice was cold and mechanical. I didn't bargain. You don't want me to attend the Mid-Autumn Festival with a haggard face, right? Zhou Xiaoyi felt that she was the most sensible person. How could she bargain with the system? She still needed to rely on the beloved concubine system to make a comeback. I won't give you any quests during this period of time, but if you fail again, you will be hacked to pieces. When Zhou Xiaoyi heard that she would be hacked to pieces, her body trembled. Moreover, the pain would last for more than half an hour. If that was the case, she would rather be hacked to pieces than accept such a punishment. Is there anything that can make my complexion look better? Is there anything that can make me look more radiant? Zhou Xiaoyi asked the system. You will only receive a reward if you complete the quest. You don't have the right to ask for anything else, the system said mechanically. Zhou Xiaoyi was a little disappointed. The system was so heartless. She could only wait patiently for the Mid-Autumn Festival in 2 weeks. During this time, Zhao Su didn't go to Moon Reflection Palace. Instead, she visited the other concubines. Sometimes she would visit Ningxu's Long Autumn Palace. Every time Ningxu heard that Zhao Su was coming to his palace, he would ask Qiuling to dress herself up in a dazzling way. She would wear all kinds of hairpins in her hair. She would look elegant and dignified. I'm the empress, so I have to be dignified and virtuous. It wasn't that Zhao Su didn't like to act like the empress, but she just had to act like one. Qiuling used to think that she shouldn't be so ostentatious in front of Zhao Su. But now she realized that being ostentatious had its benefits. She was wearing so much makeup now. When the original Zhao Su came back, she could wash off all the makeup and change her style. Only when there was a comparison could there be a comparison. And it could also give Zhao Su a new taste. Ningxu had been taking care of this body since he had nothing else to do. He used his energy to strengthen the body. When the original Zhao Su came back, she might be able to have a baby. Ningxu examined the body carefully. There was nothing wrong with her body, but she hadn't been pregnant for years. Ningxu suspected that Zhao Su was infertile. Otherwise, why would there be so few children in the harem? Zhao Su wasn't good at suppressing her desires, but she just couldn't have children. It was just too tiring to dress up like she was in a jewelry store every day. It was tiring for her and disgusting for others. Qiuling was very conflicted every time she helped Ningxu with his makeup. It wasn't always better to have more jewelry. It was very unsightly to have so much jewelry on one's head. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.